What's going on, everybody? Good evening. Welcome into the show. Talking Track is here, and we're doing the things, and we're live. What's going on, everybody? Whoop, 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 whoop. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2025. And even bigger than that, hello and welcome to Season 6 of Talking Track. Season 6. Oh my God! Isn't that crazy? 6 years we have been on the air with you guys. Well, I mean, we're starting our 6th year. 5 years and now we're starting our 6th year. But it's great nonetheless. Welcome to Season 6. Appreciate that. Baker says that means we've only got one more season and a few movies. Maybe so. Welcome in, everybody. My name is UltimatDJz. I'd like to welcome you in to a Talking Track server sound off. And Corey says still starting soon on YouTube. It is still starting soon because the theme song is still playing. It's the theme song. You want me to come in and say hi? I'll come in and say hi. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate you guys all being here. What's going on? Talking Track server sound off. You guys hit it. Noon Whistle kicking us off on server 29. See, now I've got like 3 or 4 different chats to watch. So we're going to try to do it. Scalyback from the Outback. Mariah's on 195. Patron St. Nick on server 10. Chase on 44. Spectre on 11. Indominus Prime on 53. Noon Whistle on 29. Sherlock Holmes on 27. Dragon Keeper on 53. Betty Hill's Ghost on 42. Patron St. Nick on server 10. And then we're going to come over here to this chat, and we're going to say, yo, what's going on, Balabom on 17. We're going to say Strikers on 49, Moose on 53, Better to the Robot on 51, Silver Tab on 40, John Roll on 32, Doug on 38, Timothy on 93. Then we're going to come over to the YouTube chat. We're going to say, what's up, Joseph on server 10, Spin Sugar on 22, Stray Cat on server 93, Loki on 15, Stargazer on 67, Woo! Norwich on 35, thank you, Check on 84, Lieutenant Bennett on 35, KA Knowledge on 74, Thad on 15, Bel Air on the sexy server 70. Thank you guys so very much. Swimbot on server 29. Let's see. Did I get most of them? Bob is on, I missed that. Bob is on server 70. Daystros, man, the list goes on. If I am counting everything right, then that would be approximately 115 more messages in the Talking Track server sound off. And if I am looking properly here and counting 3 numbers from all of the simulcasted audiences, I'm going... That button wasn't supposed to be on. I'm going to look across all 3 audiences, and I'm going to say, okay, it looks like right at about 215 people in the live studio audience. Not bad for late on a Thursday night. Thank you guys so very much. Appreciate you. Welcome in, one and all. Hi, Quake on 158. V-Real on server 80. Thank you guys so very much for being here. Appreciate you guys all. How are you? Good evening to our esteemed panel of guests here tonight. We've got a great stage. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, Karkin is here. Hey, what you doing, big boy? Karkin is here, everybody. How you doing, man?
Are we here? Are we connected?
Yes.
Mic check.
Pass it over, Karkin. Okay, Karkin is here. Matters is here. You know, we haven't actually picked a song out for you yet, have we? Or have we? I'm not sure. We could go with this one.
Oh,
that's why
man, I hate this stupid game.
We could go with that one. We could also go with. We could also go with this one. I think we've got Hammy's Happy Hour. I don't know that that one could be yours and Hammy's, but I like it. All right, let's see what else do we have in here for intro sounds. You know, that's.
I don't need a song.
Hold on, I think I have a drum roll. Ladies and gentlemen, Everywhere Matters is here. That's good.
I like it.
And ladies and gentlemen, VIP special guest and professor, teacher, and knower of all math things, Jules Verne is here tonight as well. What's going on? That's it right there. Jules Verne is here. Hey, Jules, what's up, buddy? Yeah, he is here as well. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate you guys all here. My name is UltimatDJz. I am your host of this wonderful, crazy community, crazy show, crazy channels, and a huge shout out as we enter 2025. I want to issue an absolutely massively large shout out to our podcast audience on iTunes and iHeartRadio and Spotify and Pandora and YouTube podcast now apparently has a thing, and I think there's Google Podcasts, and then there's like all the others like Podbox and Podbean and all these others. Thank you guys for listening to our shows there. For those of you here on the Twitch channel, you guys have been amazing. We are broadcasting live right now to our Twitch channel as well, and Jules, as we have only done twice up to this point in a mild experiment, but it does seem to be working. We are now also TriCasting our podcast live over on YouTube Live. Thank you guys for the audience that is over there. You guys are crazy. Thank you. Okay, so Sandy says...
a lot of casts.
Yeah, it's a lot of casts, and they're all live right now. This is like syndication, like crazy thing. I'm being told that Zandy says Google Podcast is now YouTube Podcast on the YouTube Music platform, and that would make sense because when I go and I do the things on YouTube, there's a button now that says, "Is this a podcast?" And I just click yes, and then it goes into the podcast thing. So thank you guys for that. I apologize. It's also very cold in the studio today. Captain Bull, thank you for your 28-month resub. You guys are great. YouTube watchers are inferior to Twitch watchers, he says. Ooh, them's fighting words.
Ooh. But you said it out loud. So
yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. There's a reason that we started TriCasting on YouTube, Captain Bull. Just saying. There are people out there who want it and don't want Twitch. Just throwing that out there, okay? Then you got players like Dr. Juby who says both YouTube and Twitch suck. Where's the 8-track replays? I mean, you know, we're working on that as well. So we do have a lot of content planned, and it's just wild. And thank you guys for continuing to support the channel in such a way that you guys do so that we can continue to do these technology upgrades and do the TriCasting and basically bring you guys more content in more ways that you guys like. I really do appreciate that. A couple of things that I'd like to remind you about real quick before we get started into the show tonight. First of all, I lost electricity at my house today. So this is just a quick story, Jules. I lost electricity at my house today. You guys know I got this new space heater things that's in the studio, right? It's great. And so I lost electricity today, but only for like 3.5 minutes. As a result, the heater turned off in the studio. So I come outside in this short t-shirt, and not a t-shirt. It's like a short sleeve polo. It actually looks really nice. This is a nice shirt. I like this shirt. I come outside and I'm like, okay, going to go do a show because I keep the heat on at like 72 out here. And it's 44 degrees out here right now. I am freezing. And then Matters is like, why don't you go inside and get a hoodie? I'm like, then I'll have to walk outside 2 more times. So I'm not going to actually do it. No, for those of you in podcast, it is actually a tankini. Sorry, that's what it is. That's what you're missing out on. See, there is some advantages to video. I am not buying a battery backup for a plug-in electric space heater, Corey. That is disastrous. That would be a terrible thing. I cannot imagine any world in which it would be appropriate to plug in an electric space heater into an APC backup. Please tell me that that is not something that actually happens. Is that a thing? Can people actually do that? No. Jules, can I plug in a space heater to a battery backup? Because I feel like that's a terrible idea.
I don't know. Sometimes I've heard potatoes are good batteries.
Yeah, I should do something like that.
You can always try something.
I feel like that's a bad idea. That's a terribly bad idea, says Cruzito. Voltron agrees. Yeah, thank you. Wonder Rams, thank you for the support of the channel. Jonathan Wick, thank you for the bits. Skyquake, thanks for the follow. Wonder Yams with the 20-month resub. Thank you, guys. Jonathan Wick, Benny Hill for the bits, and Alicia dropping 5 gifted into the chat a little bit ago. Madam Stargazer, Big Guns, Bender the Robot, Snack Attack, and Welly RC. Thank you guys for the subscriptions, both on Twitch and on YouTube. Thank you guys so very, very much. I appreciate that. Guys, a couple of promotional pieces I told you guys were coming at the start of 2025. It is January 2nd. We did not do an actual show yesterday, so I am excited to tell you guys about the promotions that we are kicking off for the first quarter. We've got 90 days, Jules, and I feel like we can do it. Every time that I always talk to the community about setting goals and growing the channel and doing some things, I think as long as we kind of come back and deliver. I didn't foobar anything. When we come back and deliver and then bring those technology investments back to you guys, I think you guys appreciate that, which is why you guys support the channel in the ways that you guys do, and I appreciate that. So I would like to remind the players of just a couple of things. A, I am indeed getting my head and eyebrows shaved on January the 7th. There will be prompt video content that is released, maybe even same day of. Griffin is flying to the mountain. All right, Griffin has got a flight booked to the mountain, and he will be coming in this weekend to do content with us. As a matter of fact, my goal is to have him come in. He's coming in at the end of the weekend. My goal is to do a piece of content with him, probably, I don't know if we'll do Monday night, probably not. Tuesday is when everything is happening, and then hopefully we'll get the video out to you guys that same day, and then Tuesday night we're going to do a live show together. All right, we're going to do a live show together. That's right, he's flying to the mountain. His arms are going to get tired. It's way out there, Captain Bull. All right, so he's coming into town. We'll be doing a live show together on Tuesday with my shaved face, all right, or at least no eyebrows. Now, I've been told that this very manly beard that I've been working on has to go too. I will beg to differ, Jules. That was not part of the contract. That was not a part of the deal. Okay? So I feel like this is going to help me compensate for the fact that there's not going to be any other hair on my face.
I don't know. Is your face part of your head?
No.
Did he have to shave your head?
You could keep.
Wait a
You
second.
could keep the chin beard.
Karkin, that is about the most sense you have ever made on this show, and you do it right now at this moment. You're going to choose this time to come up with the most intelligent thing you've ever said on this show. That's right, Juby. Karkin must be sober right now. You don't get the hell out of here, Karkin. Karkin.
You don't get that kind of clarity with sober. All right.
Wait, what is actually happening here? I feel like I've got a button for this somewhere, but I can't find it right now. Karkin, I can't believe that is the moment you choose the most amount of clarity and logic that you've ever experienced on this show. Here it is. I found it.
Like
Karkin, shut the hell up!
I was just about to agree with you, but I'll stop then.
Is your face a part of your head? I mean, I guess technically it is. Yeah, Daystro is going to shave my head for the V'ger arc. You think that's what's coming? I don't know. Maybe. So anyway, that is happening January the 7th. Okay, January 7th, that is happening. And then I would like you to mark your calendars for January 17th. January the 17th, we will be live on twitch.tv's homepage, which is very super exciting stuff. All right, we're going to be live on the Twitch homepage, so we're expecting a huge audience that night, so we're going to do a lot of fun stuff. I've got some things planned. Now, as a result of having some of those things planned, I would like to remind you guys of a couple, yeah, that's right, the Year of Hell. You think it's already started? Nah, we're going to talk about that tonight. I am celebrating the return of Alliance tournaments. I am celebrating the return of the Kirshara artifact. All right, that I am celebrating. I've got a couple of things I want to celebrate tonight. I'm gonna read them off to you. Okay, I got a couple of things that I'm celebrating. There were some bugs, but you know what? Those bugs have gotten, dare I say, knock on wood, very quick reception, investigation, and resolution, which is kind of crazy. You're right, Betty Hill's Ghost. 0 days since the last accident, but they came out with something pretty decently okay. All right. And from what I understand, now you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the Alliance tournament leaderboard thing, from what I understand, has been fixed. John says they're still foobar. Are they really? Because I thought they were fixed. All right. But, the Alliance leaderboards are still FUBAR? Okay, well. Are they still breaking them up? Is that the thing that was happening? Because I thought that actually got fixed today. So we all are still broken up? They're not hot garbage, Cruzito. They're not hot garbage. Okay, not fixed. Well, the announcement said so. I thought they actually got it.
Warm garbage.
All right, it's not garbage, Jules. I asked Jules before the show if we were going to fight tonight. He said probably. All right.
Probably.
So anyway, I've got that. But I wanted to remind you guys, first of all, a super sincere, amazing, and awesome thank you. $68,000 towards this year's Christmas Angel Fund. $68,000. This community was responsible for providing to a children's hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. You guys should be so proud of yourself. You should be absolutely over the moon with the success of the campaign. I am so proud of you guys. Yay, community. Yay, Griffin. Yay, everybody. It did not matter how large the contribution was or how small the contribution was. The fact that you gave.
That's a big one right there.
Give,
that's impressively large.
It is impressively large. The fact that you simply provided what you could, you gave what you could, every dollar mattered, and that got up to $68,000 for the community or for the Children's Hospital from this community. It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you. And that is incredible. Now, that being said, Jules, there were a few milestones that did not get hit. And from what I hear from community feedback is that the community wanted another opportunity at trying to get to a couple of those milestones. All right.
Ooh.
So, matters. This is what I was
I think
hearing.
I FUBA'd this.
This is, not that FUBA or anything. Here's what I'm hearing, though. I'm hearing that a few people still wanted the opportunity to feed me gah. All right. Which we're still going to have a conversation about that. There was, where's Tarpy? Where's that screenshot? I know that some of the community still wanted the opportunity at the makeup tutorial stream. And what was the other thing? Oh, the other thing was controlling my account for 60 minutes live in STFC. Like, I will tell you, my Alliance leadership is taking this so seriously that they have already. Oh, wait, I have to do that one anyway. You guys get control of my account. It was the Vikings fight song also. All right. So I've got some things that I got to do. My Alliance is taking this so seriously that they have told me that they will be demoting me and even potentially kicking me ahead of this particular outing at the risk of me doing something absolutely crazy insane that you guys, yeah, Dastros. They have told me that if I don't behave, they're going to boot me out of the Alliance. I told them it's not up to me. It's not up to me.
If you don't behave, it's like you normally
That's
actually
what
behave?
I said, Tarpy. That's what I said. It's not even going to be up to me, okay? If the community wants me to boot Captain Bull out of the Alliance, by God, I'm going to have to do it. And then Captain Bull says, well, you're demoted. They have taken away all power. I can no longer boot and loot anybody.
Except yourself.
Yeah, except for myself. ROE violations galore is going to happen. So, yeah, Norwich says, as a fan of the Lions for 60 years, I will not be watching when you do the Viking song. Here's the thing. They're making me do it because I'm a Packers fan. All right? Yeah, it's terrible. So, yeah, that anyway, you guys have opportunities at these three extra milestones. We're calling them the redemption milestones. Folks, you take a look at the top part of your screen. For those of you in podcast, this is available through the donation links on our websites. That would be !tip, !donate in Twitch, and through PayPal and Venmo in the regular podcast form. $7,500 is the goal for all three. This is a 90-day goal. All right. This is an opportunity for me to reinvest into the technology that we have invested in over the last quarter, but mainly too is to spice back up some of the stuff because we pretty much suspend all operations during the fourth quarter for the Children's Hospital. So this is a chance for us to get back in, get some tax money raised, and take care of some technology improvements for the studio. I always have felt a little bit awkward about asking for those contributions from the community, especially on the tail end of such a successful campaign for the children, knowing that this one is going to come back into our project. But I've been told, Jules, that I shouldn't be embarrassed about it. It's kind of like the national public radio, right? Programming like this is not possible without amazing sponsors like you guys. And so this is our annual drive. $7,500 is all we're looking for. The Vikings theme song is the first milestone at $2,500. The makeup tutorial was $5,000 milestone. And then the live Trek food. Ugh. Oh, my God, it sends chills down my spine. Either that or I'm still freezing. The live Trek food eating is the full $7,500 milestone. Those are the 3 milestones that you guys have an opportunity to help us support in our drive to further enhance our programming and bring you guys extra stuff, okay? So that is our 90-day goal, $7,500. I feel like that is not a huge stretch, but at the same time, I know it's the first quarter, so I thank you guys for whatever you can give to the show. I would appreciate anything that you are able and willing to do, and I'm going to stop doing that now because it feels weird to ask you guys for that. That said, I will also point out that those are the 3 incentive-based milestones we got through with the redemption milestones. With it comes another crazy cash contest for you guys, community. Jules Verne, part of what we do with the technology reinvestment is obviously bringing tools into the studio, doing new shows, doing new pieces of content, doing content that we've never been able to do before, traveling and doing content. All of that stuff is amazing. I feel like we have set ourselves up to be the Star Trek Fleet Command content creator that is able to travel and still put on a freaking good show. So that is part of what we were doing.
I'm so positive.
Thank you.
I'm full of positive energy.
Thank you for your positive energy. We appreciate that very much. For example, Jules, this year when we head to Miami, we are packing up the studio. We are going to have a live studio with the nice big soundboards and computers and the backdrops and like full-on television production when we go to Miami here in 51 days. Can you guys believe that's happening?
Very nice.
In 51
Very
days.
nice.
We're going to have the full studio. But it's not stopping there. We're also bringing that full studio on the boat. And we have some crazy cool, exciting announcements that we're going to be making in the next couple of weeks regarding that and the content we're going to be able to provide to you on the boat. So that is very, very exciting stuff. That said, Twitch has their own thing going on. So I'm going to ask if you guys remember, and we're going to get into STFC right after this. I know I had to do the announcements up front. It's annoying. You guys will probably remember the Partner Plus promotion thing. You remember how we had to get all those Partner Plus points? As a matter of fact, last year, if you guys will recall, Tarpy, we gave away $1,000 when we finished that promotion. Do you guys remember? We did it. It was a 3-month campaign. We had to get the 300 plus points for 3 months in a row. It was all about all the threes. 3 months at 300 points. And that was basically the big promotion that we had to do. And if we hit that goal, which you guys did, then at the end of that 3 months, we gave away $1,000. You guys remember? $1,000. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, we gave away, did we do that all to one person or was it multiple people? I actually can't remember that one. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. Folks, I am going to double down this year. Balabom says, I think it was 3 people. So what was it, like 500, 300, and 200, or 500, 400, 100? I don't remember what it was. But we did $1,000. Well, folks, this year, I decided that because you guys have been so amazing, not only generous through the nonprofit, but supporting this channel and with the redemption milestones, we're going to take some of that and put it back. We are announcing the return of our Partner Plus program, which is a requirement by Twitch. Like, it's a requirement for us. It is something that Twitch offers. It is the highest the highest level of partner. It's the highest level of compensation that Twitch offers, and we hit it last year. We got 1 year on the program, and it's time for us to do it again. So this year, to make sure that we hit, everybody, I am now offering $2,000. We're going to offer $2,000, yeah. $2,000 we're going to be offering this year with the launch of the Partner Plus program. All right, $2,000. And so you'll see up here, I have certain goals. Here's how I'm going to spice it up, guys. All right, here's how we're spicing it up. We've got the $2,000. That's right, Vic. $2,000 is how we're going to be doing it this year. Partner Plus points for each month. Okay, Partner Plus points for each month. So here's what we're doing. We are going to, I've got to remember exactly how Griffin laid this thing out. If we hit just the Partner Plus points each month, which is 300 points, if we hit 300 points, then we are going to give away $500 at the end of this month. Okay? We're not even going to wait until the end. We're going to give away $500 if we hit the 300 Partner Plus points plus a no, wait. Is that right? Now I need Griffin. I can't remember. It was 300 plus points. Was going to be $300. Oh, man. See, I should have written this down now. I can't remember. Anyway, there's two goals. 300 plus points and then 300 subs, 300 gifted subs, because gifted and or prime. That's why we wanted to incorporate that, because if you remember last year, primes didn't count, gifted subs didn't count, and we thought that was really unfair. So we are going to go and double it up, and that's why we're doubling up the money. We're going to 300 plus points and 300 prime and gifted subs, which is why it shows 600 to go. If we hit the goal this month, then that's $500. Okay? If we hit the same goal in February, it's another $500. If we hit the same goal in March, it's another $500. But if we hit all three of them all 3 months, then we do the extra bonus $500, which brings it to $2,000. I'm still working on, and we're going to do something very, very similar. We're doing something very, very similar to what we did last year with the giveaways and the points registration. Prime subs, gift subs, those are going to count as like 1 point, and then the tier 1 subs, I think Griffin wanted to amp those up. I think they're worth 3 points. No, 2 points. And then the tier 2 subs, he wanted to make worth 6 points. And then he wanted to make the tier 3 subs worth 10 points. And those will all go into a spreadsheet. And instead of doing it at the end of 90 days, Griffin wants to give away the money each and every month. That's right, Madrox. January, February, March. Griffin didn't want to wait, and he doesn't want to wait 90 days to give away the money. So we're going to give away some money each month with a bonus pot at the end of March if, in fact, we hit all 3 of them. So, yeah, and, here's the thing. We've been very fortunate in this community that this channel has celebrated and achieved, between 600 and 800 subs pretty regularly monthly. So I don't feel like this is going to be a big deal. But the Partner Plus points are always the bigger challenge. It's not the total subs. It is the Partner Plus points, because they eliminate the primes and the gifted subs. We didn't think it was fair. That's why we're doing the total goal of 600 as like an added bonus. But the Partner Plus points definitely, absolutely matter. Those are the super important ones, and those are Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 subs. Madrox, that's what it is. So here we go. And I already have a couple of them to add here tonight. So let's take a look, because it counts as of right now. There is Captain Shaw with a Tier 1 sub. So it's going to pop up there. Boom. We have Snack Attack with a Prime sub. So that goes into the second category. And then we have Bender the Robot with his sub. Big Guns with a sub. Madam Stargazer with the sub. And Alicia dropping 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have Wonder Yams with the Tier 1 sub. Captain Bull with the Prime resub. Jonathan Ingram with the Prime sub. And Alicia with the Tier 2, which counts as 2 Prime Plus points. So thank you so very much for that. And that means right there we are at 15. So I can drop this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And look at that. To go, only 585 points to go. You guys knocked out 15 points in just like that. Super quick. So thank you guys. That is the thing. If we hit the goals each month, then we will be, in fact, giving away the $2,000 at the end of 90 days. All right, like 500 and 500 and then 1,000, whatever. It's going to be great. Will those that have renewal on subs count, says Anhani? Yeah, if they're the tier subs, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3, they will count on your renewal date. Okay? Shawty says, I have a renewal sub question. Is it the same one? Yeah, whenever you're, like, so if you have a renewed Tier 2 sub or a Tier 1 sub and your renewal date is the 15th of the month, and when that happens, that's when it'll count. All right? So thank you guys. Asheville says that's why we love this stream. Why? Because I'm giving away money? or because you guys are so wholesome and loving and amazing. Oh, never mind. It's Vic said because I'm crazy. Okay, got it. Shawty S says, sucks. My renewal date is outside your timeline. How do you figure? No. So what did you do? Did you do like a 3-month renewal or a 6-month? Those still count every single month, Shawty. So that's actually what I was going to point out. If you guys did Tier 3 subs 6 months in advance, I know that's a lot of money, but that's the most points for the cheapest amount of money, and it actually gives you guys the best value for your sub, too, because it saves you like 30%. So, Shawty, even though you renewed for 6 months, every 30 days is when it counts your points. So it still counts monthly. You just don't get billed again for 6 months. All right. So, and Hani says, my 6-month renews in 48 hours. Then you don't get pay for 6 months, but every 30 days, it will still give you those points for that month's renewal. And by the way, for those of you in podcasts, I don't mean to leave you out because we're not. Same thing applies for the Patreon paid subs at $20 or higher. The $20 or higher gets you 10 entries into the contest on the Patreon program. The $5 one gets you 2 entries, and the $15 one gets you the same 6 entries. So basically, the $5 Patreon equals a Tier 1 sub. The $10 Patreon equals a Tier 2 sub. And the $20 Patreon equals a Tier 3 sub. So we're including everything all the way around. And YouTube, you guys count as well. We've only got, I think, 3 levels of subscription, paid subscription over on YouTube, and those will now be included as well. Voltron says, how would it work if people have Twitch Prime? So they will get 1 point, Voltron, and it goes in the second category. It goes in the subs category because Prime, unfortunately, according to Twitch, does not count for the Partner Plus program. But we are still counting you in the giveaway, which is why we're offering the stretch goal at 600. Okay? Asheville says we love the money, the math, and the shenanigans. Well, we do have math tonight, all right? So now that I'm done with all my shameless self-promotion, we can get it on. I wanted to have Griffin on tonight to help me promote this thing because he helped me write it, all the changes that we made from last year. But he is busy because he's actually getting ready to head my way. So I'm sure he's spending some time with family tonight. Thank you, Your Way, for the 25-month Tier 1 sub. Thank you. That adds Partner Plus points up there, so appreciate that so very much. Thank you, guys. That is incredible and awesome. And with that, Jules, we actually have math to get into as well. Bennett says, let's see, wait. Would it be better for me to do Prime on Studio B and then sub here? That would be, Bennett. That would be better for you. Yes, because that would get you in on the giveaway over here because we're not doing that. We're not making that push on the Studio B channel yet feel like it's got a little bit of time before we could get 300 plus points on Studio B. Does the Studio B Patreon sub count? Yes, Daystros. That's why I was saying if it's the $5, $10, or $20 level. So the only one that doesn't count is the 15 over on Patreon. But if you have the Studio B $20 all access, that does actually count. All right, that does count. And there's no limit. There's no limit to what you can earn. If you do Patreon and YouTube and Twitch, then you earn in all of those different ways. All right, you earn entries in all of those different ways. And of course, we will be offering free-to-play entry for anybody wanting to send the postcard like we did for the last cruise contest. If you send the postcard to our P.O. box, which is, I'll read this to you now very quickly. I have it. I'm looking for it. Here you go. In the official rules, you can indeed get yourself entered for free by mailing a postcard to 18 Bypass Plaza, Box 1010, Beckley, West Virginia, 25801. And all you have to do is send a postcard to that address with like your Twitch and maybe your email, just a way for me to reach you, and you'll get one free entry. So if you guys want to do that, then you could do that too. Can you send Gawk? Please don't. I would appreciate that not happening. Thank you. Fire Force with the tier 1 sub. Then Shawty coming in with 10 gifted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And Master Viper with the tier 1 sub. Thank you so very much. That puts us now at 28, which means we've got to take this down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Boom. There we go. 572. Thank you guys. All right. We are 1 hour in, and we've already, yeah, you guys are crushing it. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. That's right. If you get gifted a sub, Ben Sai says, you can still upgrade it to a paid sub and upgrade your points. That is actually accurate. Zandy says only one postcard or unlimited entries. It's one entry per postcard, unlimited entries. The law tells me I must provide you free-to-play unlimited entries. So that's what we do. Okay? You can do it. The thing is, most people didn't do that last time. When we did the cruise, I got remarkably few number of postcards. We did get some. Not very many.
How many did you get? Because I remember there was a sweepstakes before that where you got 0 postcards.
Yeah, I got 0 postcards. For the cruise, I think I did get like 80 or 100, something like that. We did get a handful. It was all from one person. And they didn't realize, because see, during the cruise contest, you could only get 1 entry per month with a postcard. So they sent me like 100, but I could only use 3 of them. Because I'm pretty, but I think that it wasn't just one person. It was only like 3 or 4 people, but one person sent in a bunch, and I was like, oof, yikes. But this one, he could do that. If that person wanted to send 100 postcards this time, then they totally can. All right. Voltron, thank you for your tier 1 sub, and Putz, thank you for your 28-month tier 1 sub. Thank you guys so very much. So that is very cool. Anyway, JM, yes. Jonathan Kidder says we're an hour in. Wait, we're an hour in and we're just now getting ready to start talking about Star Trek? Well, welcome to my show. It's kind of
par for the course.
Par for the course. You're lucky I'm not giving you stupid news tonight. All right, because I normally do stupid news, but I won't do it tonight.
Oh, no stupid news?
Not tonight. No, I can't do the stupid news tonight. I can't do it tonight because we've talked 45 minutes about self-promotion. Cruzito says we are actually way ahead of schedule. I mean, that's true. Jonathan, we're ahead of schedule.
We haven't heard the first break yet.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten there yet, okay? Hey, what's going on, Jace? Good evening. Tonight's Star Trek night. Jace is a new friend we made in Fortnite the other night. You're not going to like this content. As a matter of fact, I don't even want you to get hooked on this game. Don't. Your parents will hate me.
No.
Right.
No. You don't have enough money.
What?
Run away.
Run!
He doesn't have enough money.
Jace. I do remember you. But your parents and their credit card bills will hate me forever if you start playing this game. All right. Jace is a young man that we played Fortnite with the other night. How old was he? 12?
12 or something.
He was a young guy, but obviously old enough to fully understand the mechanics of Fortnite teabagging and massive slaughter. Because I could not do anything. Teach him how to do it free to play. Oof. Captain Bull says, can we play Fortnite instead? I spend way less over there. Yeah, I know. Me too. Although Dr. Iron Chef sent me a $10 gift on that game the other day. He bought me a battle pass. Wasn't that sweet of him?
Yeah.
So nice.
That was cute.
Savage A says, hey, man, wanted to say thank you for the inspiration and the tips to help me stream. And I just want to say, hope everything goes good for you in 2025. You know what? That's awesome, Savage. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's doling out inspiration. I even have music for it. Good job, Savage. We're very proud of you here at Talking Trek. And we hope that you, too, one day can build an incredibly amazing community. And I'm not being sarcastic about this. This community kicks ass. Yeah, they do. This community's ridiculous. You know what this community did, Savage Ace? This community raised $68,000 for sick children in the Children's Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee this year. Literally, like, not in December, like Christmas 2024. 68 grand this community raised. Isn't that insane? That's your inspiration. All right, that's what they do right there. Lieutenant Bennett, thank you for your resub. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so very, very much. You too, Savage, can spend $1,000 on a digital pixel ship called a Mayflower, and then rename it and call it a Payflower, and never, ever, ever live it down. Hey, Jace, do you have your mom's credit card? Because if you do, there is this ship called a Mayflower. We might be able to help you out. All right. Oh, $68,000 is only $100 less than Griffin spent on his maxed Revenant. I agree. That is absolutely a thing. It's true. Yeah. Don't actually build a Mayflower, please. Don't actually do that. That's a terrible idea. So thank you. J-Babes, thank you for the 20-month resub. Appreciate that. Lieutenant Bennett, thank you for the resub. You guys are incredible. Okay, now, Jules. Alliance tournaments are back. Big thing. Kirshara Artifact is back. Big thing. Ahead of the Curve is back. Mildly big thing. There's controversy about Ahead of the Curve. I have still... You know what? I saw Rev put out some data the other day. You guys want to talk about this data? Can we do Ahead of the Curve before we do Alliance tournaments? Is that okay?
Fine.
Tarpy?
Yes.
Jules, are we good with that? Because from what I understand, we're going to fight about it. I hear we're going to fight about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Boxing gloves on.
All right. We're apparently going to have to. Webster Sponge says, does this have something to do with Lorca? You're damn straight it is. Does. Whatever the proper grammar is. I'm not entirely sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ahead of the Curve. It ran for the month of December, and I have some startling data. Scopely will not be pleased with this data. The data is, in fact, and I'm pretty sure Rev shared this the other day. Jules, tell us a little bit about the data that we were able to pull from our friend Chronox over at STFC Statistics. It was kind of startling, right? Tell us a little bit about what it is that we discovered.
This is the number of players that have completed a certain number of milestones. So this, basically just shows you how far people got. You have to add up all of these to know exactly how many players actually participated. But this isn't as shocking as probably the other percentile-based one. Do you have the other screenshot?
Oh, am I missing a percentile? Am I missing a screenshot?
Yeah.
I might be missing one. This is the only one that Chronox sent me.
Okay, look in the chat room.
Okay.
UAMD just posted it. It's probably easier to find it there.
Okay, got it there. We'll pull that one up on the screen as well. For those of you in podcast, the time is 10:17 p.m. where we have posted both of these figures in our chat room, and I'm going to put these figures side by side for those on screen to be able to take a look at. Now, Jules, what we are observing here is a quantity equal to roughly 160,000 players. Now, hang on, Dastros. You say it's skewed, but let's do some napkin math here. All right. And by the way, this again is data that we really shouldn't be putting out there. This is the data that Echo got in trouble for when we talked about the 6% on the Vidar.
Oh, for the Vidar.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. When Echo came out and said only 6% of active players had maxed a Vidar. And do you remember the outrage? Not even the outrage, the incredible pessimism, the shock and awe of that announcement. I mean, Jules, you were shocked. I was shocked. I think
yes.
I was blown away. How can only 6% of players have finished the Vidar? Well, the answer was simple. All right. Players either didn't find value in it, they didn't have the ops, or well, no, they did have the ops. They didn't find value in it. They stopped chasing it. They got bored with it. Blah blah blah. They could have been alt accounts. All right, all this stuff. Voltron says, "Did you really trust Scopely numbers?" That was the truth, Voltron. 6%.
Well, I think the bigger problem with the 6% is, what is the 6% of? Is it 6% of players who, I don't know, sign in daily that are above a certain ops range? Right? Like, what was the actual 6%? This is interesting because ahead of the curve scores based on a daily event, which means by accident, you are likely to finish one of these, which means you will score in at least the none category, which means you scored a point, but didn't complete a milestone.
That's right. These
this
players
includes 100% of active players. Yeah.
These players had to have logged in within the last 30 days and completed at least one mining event, or one hostile event, or one artifact event, or material event, whatever. Any one of the many daily events, which were here, by the way. Okay, I'm going to pull these up. Oh, what's happening here? There we go. These right here. Latinum Rush event. The Q's Trials, Armadas, Zindi Hostels, the Cube Grind, Voyager Friday, or Mirror Universe Hostels. Or a hostile hunt or a mining event with the Pinnacle events. Or Fleet Commander upgrade, artifact upgrade, ship parts, building, resource, material. Players had to have finished one of these events within 30 days. That means, by definition, Jules, these players are 30-day actives. They have logged into the game and completed an event in the last 30 days. Now, when we look at these numbers, okay, we are able to ascertain that approximately, there we go, 151,045 players completed one of these events over the course of 26 days. Now, Cruzito says no one is doing them. Is it likely that they have 0 points, Cruzito? Even if you're a player who said, I completely abandoned this, I do not like ahead of the curve, it's not worth it, I hate the new dailies, the structure sucks, I don't want to be forced to spend all this, that, and the other. How many people got 0 points? The chance, Cruzito, of you finishing the month with 0 points is actually remarkably low. You don't play the game. You don't play the game. You don't do dailies, because the dailies should get you pretty close to finishing Pinnacle. Right? The Pinnacle events coincide with your dailies. Now, here's the thing. Shadow Fox says if the officers were better, then I might focus on it. But how many people don't do their dailies? If you do the dailies, then you are likely to have scored a point in this. Okay? Now, hang on, Cruzito. You say, I see 43,000 people that got none. No, that's not no points. That means they didn't achieve the first milestone. They actually, to have shown up on this chart, did, in fact, score a point. They just didn't hit the first milestone, meaning that they had 100 or 200 or 300 or whatever, okay? They scored in the event. They just didn't hit that first level of milestone. That was 44,000 rough players. Okay? Cruzito says 0 points, 0 milestones, same. No, it's not. All right? As far as progress, it's same. But it does, as Jules points out, give us a very, very real-time snapshot into daily active players. Okay?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think that if you didn't do any weekly events and you just accidentally got your hostile hunt and your mining pinnacle events, you almost got the first milestone. Like you're a day away from getting the first milestone, just doing those accidental dailies. So I would say that anything milestone 1 and above is definitely your more active players, at least a couple times a week, if not daily. Players. We're looking at milestone 2 and above is more than likely your regular daily players that may not participate in every event. Milestone 3, I'm guessing, is the players who participate every day but have chosen to ignore this event completely and have also skipped several. And then obviously milestone 4 is probably a stretch for a lot of players. Because it does require completing basically every weekly SMS and every pinnacle and some of the daily SMSs.
Sure.
So we can kind of break that down a little further. I know that you've got a calculator that kind of tells you what you need to actually hit.
Oh, yes. Yes, I did make a calculator for it. I like yours, although I was looking at it. We're going to look at these calculators here in just a couple of minutes because that's what I want to do. I feel like, and I'm going to get editorial on you for a moment. I feel like there's a lot of things in this game that don't go our way. There's a lot of things that are not player beneficial. There's a lot of things that are disguised as pitfalls. There's a lot of things that Scopely doesn't do that are in the player's interest. I don't see a crazy downfall to this event. All right. Could the officers be better? Sure. Could the daily event rewards be better? Sure. Could the event be easier to hit? Sure. Putz hates it. Okay. Putz went off in chat the other day about the progressive milestone and how the milestones were improperly separated, all the stuff. He's really PO'd about it. And I get that a lot of people are. I have yet to find a problem with this event mechanically. Even Rev hates it. All right. Mechanically, this is great. Does it need tweaks? Sure. Were we going to get tweaks this time? No, because the second run started while they were still on holiday. All right. DJ Vlad says, hate the event, hate the rewards. Op 70, going to be 0. I was at 0. You were at 0 points. Vlad, how's that even possible? At Op 70, how is it possible that you didn't do a single pinnacle event? I don't understand that. That does not make sense to me. No pinnacle events? No mining? No dailies? I don't understand it. Jace, thanks for the resub. All right. So Vlad says don't need to. Don't participate in crappy events. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if there was a hostile hitting event, you could have gotten pinnacle. If there was a mining event, you would have gotten one of the pinnacles. Like, that's what I'm saying. You mean to tell me in ahead of the curve, you got 0 points? Vlad, I find that crazy hard to believe if you did any events at all. If you did any event at all, how did you not score 100 points? Now, that all being said, I want to shift over to the percentage piece of this, because this spoke to me even bigger than the numbers one. All right. When I'm looking at the percentage one here, Jules, this one spoke to me even more. Like, the one that Chronox sent me was the percentage one, and this was the one that I studied, and I thought it was kind of crazy. All right. Because let's see. Wait, did he? Oh, Chronox is in my chat right now. Hang on. So which one did he send me? The percentage one, right? That's the one he sent me first.
Yeah, he posted both in his Discord.
I got you. The percentage one was crazy to me because there was a number that really, really stuck out to me. And I bet you guys know what it is. What was the number? Jules, if you had to guess the number on the percentage chart that stuck out to me as not only hilarious, but previously proven as mathematically accurate and consistent with the little nuggets of data that Scopely has given to me that I shared with you guys about the new daily series. You guys remember what I told you? You remember what I told him, Jules, at the beginning when we were talking about this the very first time, when everybody was screaming about Latinum and Officer XP and you know all the rewards from the dailies, and I said that there was 6% participation in the daily event structure before. You guys remember that?
I do remember
that. Looky there. I shouldn't be surprised.
6%.
I should not be surprised because you know what? This community is the elite. I don't know. I don't know how we've done it, Jules. I don't know how we've done it, but the game's most strategic players consume our content, and I love you guys for it. You guys are the voices that Scopely should be listening to. And I think that's why we get so much done, Jules. It has to be. Because you guys are the hardcore. You guys are the hardcore. 6%. You're the 6%ers. You are indeed, Voltron, ahead of the curve.
Okay, so now here is where I'm going to step back, get out of my own bubble, and be an advocate for some players that have been talking to me about this.
Okay.
Is this structure of this event ahead of the curve, not the dailies, I don't want to talk about those just yet, but the ahead of the curve event, is the structure and the payout worth only giving to 6%? Is it a failure that only 6% of players are finishing that top milestone?
What does the top milestone give?
A full unlock of a random set, a full unlock of an epic officer.
Okay. Full unlock, epic officer. Totally, I agree with that. Anybody disagree with that? Because that's the right answer. Okay. 100 to 120 shards of an epic officer. Please allow me to ask the methods of which you can earn full unlocks of epic officers in the history of this game. There's only a few answers, by the way. Okay. A gift, says Berlin. Okay. That's true. We have gotten that probably, 4 times? Anniversary gifts. That always comes at the anniversary time. They don't even do a full epic usually at Christmas. It's usually the anniversary in November. Okay, that's 1. There you go. A lucky pull and an ultra recruit. Fair, 0 Gs. The odds on that are 1%. All right, stick that in your cap. Put it in your brain. A full pull Skyquake. Sorry. In ultra recruits, you have a 1% chance at a full pull of an epic officer. And that is 1 out of what? 30 or 40, maybe 50 officers that are in the epic chest now? Or that are in the ultra chest. I don't even know how many epics are in the ultra chest. It's probably got to be 50. All right, so you got a 1% chance. Okay, there's another. Okay, what else? Jonathan Ingram has one. Just drop $400. All right. That's absolutely a valid thing. Scopely has sold full unlocks for $400. By the way, $400 is the best price that they've typically offered. Sometimes they're $600. Okay? What else? Thank you. And Venadia says there's 40 epics in the Ultra Chest. Just counted. Thank you. I knew it was a bunch. All right. What else? Strange New Worlds pulls. Cool. Yep. That has less than a 1% chance, but it's there. Any lucky pull. We could say any lucky pull. All right. They're usually 1% is the best chance you've got in the entire game. Most of them are 0.1% or less. All right. But 1% is the best odds at any lucky pull in the game. And that is in the Ultra Chest. Okay. Voltron, you got it. Meta, like they did for Tendy. Okay. Love that. Coming back for that one here in a second. Are you serious? We're in ads? No, we're not. Yeah, we are. All right. Well, that's why you give PP points. That's why you get subbed. The podcast audience isn't in break. And subscribers are not in break. All right, so the Tendy meta event, absolutely. Leaderboard weekend events and heroic solo milestones. You got it. Perfect.
Getting to a particular syndicate level, as Corey Rains points out on YouTube.
Fair. All right.
Yeah.
Fair. So there's a few ways to earn a full epic, but we just named less than 10. Less than 10 ways to earn a full unlock in this game of an epic officer. By the way, almost all of those are RNG. The only ones that aren't are buying, like spending money, or a weekend SMS or leaderboard. Okay? Where you get to choose the officer you invest in. So all the others are all RNG. Okay? Not that I'm defending it, by the way. I am advocating for us to get a choice token in this pack. All right? But even if it was RNG, Ultras are 1 out of 40. You guys are screaming about how Ultra just got taken away from you. And that's a 1% chance out of 40 epics that most of you, 6%ers, probably have maxed already. Okay? I mean, listen, if we're really going to get down to it, you ahead of the curvers, you 6%ers, I would imagine out of the 40 officers that are in the Ultra Recruit chest, you probably have at least half of them maxed. Tell me I'm wrong. Transporter patterns. You 6%ers out there, how many of you guys have been farming transporter patterns since the day you started? Or at least since the day you hit Ops 28? Because that's when you start. Oh, I didn't say all, Swimbot. I didn't say all. I said roughly half. Okay? But that's right, transporter patterns. How many of you guys have not been farming transporter patterns since you were Ops 28? The ones in the Admiral's chest, how many of you guys have all of those maxed? I have none of them maxed.
No. Yeah.
None of them. Now, granted, they're not the most useful officers, most of them, but they're still not maxed. They'd still be good for ATAs. They'd still be good for stats. They'd still be good for lower decks. For those of you with limited statistics, I mean, listen, they have their uses. It's just not the abilities we're interested in. Okay? Ben Sai says, I still don't have any of the pit crew. Don't worry, you're not missing much. All right? You're not missing much there, okay? Other than the fact that they are indeed epics.
So incentive to play in the Ahead of the Curve event is purely based on your value of these officers. Now, one of the things that we can say to all people is that this bundle of officers will likely change in 25 days and 5 hours when this resets. So maybe you hold on to your tokens. Now, please, I'm just going to, as a PSA, this does have a 28-day cooldown. So it's not like you can bank up more than 6,000 and be able to pull it multiple times. There's also a hard cap on this currency.
That's
of
right.
6,000.
And I don't think that this chest is going to cycle. This chest has already come down once and then went back up. It was down for a few hours. I actually was talking with Ops when it came down.
They said during the Q&A that it would be
end of first quarter,
the same for a few months and then change.
I think the number that they told me was roughly the end of the first quarter. All right, so probably the end of March. 5 months, I think, is probably 4 or 5 months, I think, is what we're going to expect before we see a refresh. All right, so
okay.
I don't want to necessarily put out the idea or expectation it's going to change next month. I do not expect it to. They have been pretty clear with me that this is going to stick around for a couple of months. Okay, now there's one other thing that I want to point out up here. You had mentioned the value of a full pull, right? And that players, 6.9% of players, did indeed earn a full pull from this event this month. All right. But there were other players like Putz who are going to get partial progression. All right. Milestone number 3 gave you exactly 3,000 tokens, which was one of his complaints. Why did I do 75% of the event but only get half of the currency? Well, I get that. That's not different than it's very normal for milestone-based progression in this game. So I get that. All right. But that's normal. Okay. But to finish milestone number 3 gave you 3,000 tokens. Now, let's back up here a little bit and ask a different question. Maybe only 6% hit milestone 4, but 23.86% of players, which is milestone 3 and 4, will be able to pull a full epic at least every 2 months. Wonder Game says, but the currency didn't give you officer shards. You're right. But next month, it will. You see? Next month, it will. Next month, that same 3 milestone, which is the 16.94%. And actually, I'm going to come back. I said 23.86%, but that's not an accurate picture either. Let's paint it properly. 6.9% got a full pull this month, and if they repeat their success, they will get another full pull next month. But 16.9% of players, if they repeat their same engagement, will get a full epic after 2 months of engagement. Now, let me ask the next question. Is that terrible? A meta that provides a free epic every 2 months? What if we looked at this and we said, okay, every 2 months, milestone 3, where roughly 25% of the game lives, they got a free epic every 2 months. Is that terrible sourcing? Is it possible that the 4th milestone is the stretch goal? You know how Scopely loves their stretch goals. Maybe that's possible. Maybe it's possible that the free epic every month would require a pretty daggone heavy engagement. Maybe even, gosh, dare I say, near perfect engagement, a meticulous planning, an understanding of the meta and the points and the requirements necessary, kind of like, I don't know, the Tendy meta or the 4 of 11 meta. And if I recall, the Tendy meta has been praised. The 4 of 11 meta was praised. You guys have begged for epic officer metas. And let me remind you, 4 of 11 meta and the Tendy meta both required significantly more material spend than this meta. As a matter of fact, this meta could potentially, could being the key word, require 0 spend. Okay? And that's what we're going to talk about with the calculator tonight. There absolutely is a strategy to perfecting your engagement in this event. And do you have to spend a single material? The answer is no. But you can, but you don't have to. Okay? Daystro says, perfect completion for any payout for Tendy. Clarify, sir. Tendy was a valuable officer at the time, for sure. All right? But she also was more expensive at the time. She was much more expensive than ahead of the curve. So, that's right. Give G4 their swarms back. Cruzito says at the time, I would agree, because guess what? Tendy is not worth anything today. Isn't that crazy? Tendy's not. To later players, let me rephrase, G3 and G4, she's still probably somewhat valuable. Free to play, she's probably still decent. But, well, no, I can't even say decent. She's helpful slightly. Cruzito, how would you describe Tendy's effect today? Nakar says, I would have preferred Tendy over any of the pick officers. I don't think that's accurate today.
Why?
Because she's drowned out by buildings and research that offer hundreds and thousands of % of hull.
And she's in transporter patterns.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So she's immediately maxable for anyone who's got transporter patterns. So if you find value in her,
Nakar says still better than the pick officers. I don't know. I kind of like Pick Picard. I remember Jonathan Ingram killing me with Pick Wharf. He used Pick Wharf in a in one of the G2 ships to kill my Pylum. I remember that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Queen Rage says Tendy is very irrelevant today. I don't disagree. Okay.
He could kill you with Badgie.
And he has. All right. I mean, that's a
He
thing.
could kill you with
Okay.
Tendy in the captain's chair. Okay, moving on.
Yeah,
So
Jonathan Ingram says,
think
Pick Wharf is coming back, baby. That's right.
we can talk about whether or not the actual officers have any value, but let's kind of just talk about just finishing the event itself. We do have a calculator. There is a separate one than what you made that kind of, because I think one of the fallacies in being as simple as do you complete all your weekly events is that there's actually a weekly event that I've been getting a lot of pushback even from my own team saying I can't complete that every week, and that is
Q's Trials.
the final weapon. No, it's actually the final weapon.
Really?
Because the Q's Trials does have a hostile counter for it, so it is possible to grind out 1,000 hostiles if you really wanted to finish that. It's the final weapon. People saying that they cannot accrue enough directives, and that the actual Zindi directives are misbalanced. You have to spend
I agree with that.
13 of your uncommons. You can only hold 5.
That's one of the tweaks. Honestly, that's one of the tweaks I think needs to happen. I think that the final weapon event is improperly mathematically written. Okay? But again, we weren't going to get any changes between December and January. Okay? We weren't going to get them here. But
that event runs once a week
Sure.
and is now run 5 times. So why isn't it changed yet? Like that, we're not talking about the ahead of the curve changes. We're talking about a weekly event change.
Yeah, no, fair. I get that. I was told, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I was told they were still in the office when Ahead of the Curve launched, and we got that first week of events. And let me ask if this surprises anybody, because it doesn't me. We are not going to change it this month. We need to look at the data. Does that sound familiar? I mean, did we've ever heard Scopely saying, "Well, we're gonna play it out and we're gonna see what it looks like"? All right. They said the same thing with March to Oblivion. But then the author of this event also told me at that same moment that we are going to let it run for the 26 days. We're going to look at it, and then we're going to be on holiday. It will not change for January, but we will have a conversation in January about February. I mean, and again, I probably shouldn't have said this quite as blatantly as I had, but this is not beyond expectation for me. First of all, Scopely is a very generous company for the people who work for them. They had a very ridiculous holiday break. They haven't been in the office for like the last 2.5 weeks, okay? Which is great for them. Love it, okay? I am not going to jail. See, they're listening. They're not even in the office, and they're listening. He said, tisk, going straight to jail. No, I'm not. I am providing insight into the fact that you guys were not working over the holiday.
There was people still working.
There was some people working. As a matter of fact, the one I'm talking to, unfortunately, he did not have a holiday. He's been there every day. He drew the short straw. He's been on call every single day, and I appreciate it. By the way, he's talked to me a lot during that holiday break, so thank you guys. Appreciate that. But no, in all seriousness, I never expected changes before the beginning of February, Jules, and that is simply because they were not going to change it without one complete run, and then they were out of time before the second run began. I would hypothesize that it would be possible even to see a change to that weekly event without waiting until February, but I guarantee it wasn't going to happen before the start of January. All right? Because when they get back into the office, they're going to look at Ahead of the Curve for December. They're going to look at the 26-day event. They're going to look at all those other events. They're going to look at the final weapon event. And because, as you mentioned, that's a weekly event, it is very possible that they can make an adjustment to that without waiting till the end of this run of Ahead of the Curve. But it wasn't going to happen before they return to the office. And I might point out, they're still not there. Okay? They do not return to work until Monday the 6th. All right? The company's on holiday. So I did not expect this to happen. Now, I'm not defending. I'm just explaining before anybody gets fussy on me. But I did not expect that change. For the record, Jules, I agree. Final weapon event appears to be imbalanced. Let me ask this question, since I do have a staffer listening right now, who, by the way, is not the author of this event. But let me ask this question. If you were authoring an event, community, any random person, staffer who's listening, if you were authoring an event, does it make sense that running one of those armadas would yield 4 times higher than the top milestone of that event? Does that make sense, community? If you run
4 times
one
higher than the
have you guys done the math on running a rare Zindi Armada?
Yes, but I would say conversely, what would the correct design be for the uncommon? And then because you gain 1 start each week, it should equal completion of that weekly SMS.
No. I would have said uncommon should give you half of the top milestone, and a rare should complete the whole thing.
That's what
a rare FKR.
Okay. Yes, and that is what I believe the math was probably intended to be, is that 1 rare completed the milestone. You can tell by the point assignments. All right. They did 13,000 points, but there was 13 points per directive on rare. I think that the author of this event literally just made an error in the number of directives it costs to run these, because it's different than any other armada in the game. What other armada costs 1,000 uncommon directives to run? And what other armada in the game costs 5,000 directives to run? They don't exist. Okay? They don't exist. That's why I think that, and the event was named after the Zindi, which is why I believe that the Zindi Armada should have been the primary scoring metric and that FKR should have been secondary. Okay? I do believe that, and I think that that is a logical case that I can win when I have an audience with them. All right? But that being said, 1 epic and 2 rares is what it would cost in FKR in a month. Now, well, I mean, that's, I guess, in a week. So that is free-to-play unsustainable. I agree, Jules.
Yeah, 2 epics, maybe, depending on your engagement. I think you have to be a G5 player, fully engaging and maxing all of your rare bundles, and have some luck and a good amount of leftover.
1,000 epic directives a month is probably still a stretch for most players, to be honest with you. But yeah, you might be able to pull 2 epics. That might be a possible thing. Certainly not 4. Okay. That being said, I get that. You know what? I have to accept the math. That's how the event is at the moment. So I accept that. That's not a free-to-play event. Okay.
Great. So
I can accept that.
Exclude that weekly SMS from our point total. So we have to be a little bit pick and choosy with which ones we do. Tarpy actually made a daily mini sheet similar to...
one other thing, since I have a staffer listening.
Okay.
If I was going to complete the Zindi Armada event with Zindi Uncommon Armadas, it would require 13 under the current math. Right? Am I correct, guys? It was 1 point per directive. Yeah? So yes. 1 Zindi Armada would pay 1,000 points. The top milestone was 13,000 points. So it would require 13 Zindi starts, by the way, because it was based on directives. And for the record, how many directives do we earn free to play in a week?
1,000.
1,000. So how many starts can I get in a week?
1.
1, not 13, but 1. Moreover, there's no real normal engagement event that requires 13 armadas of anything. Just throw that out there. That's why the math has to be an error. The math is an error.
The Zindi ones are capped at 5.
Well, that's right.
So
that's right, Tarpy. Yeah. Not only do you only earn 1 start a week, but you're actually capped with 5 starts. So how can an event be written to require 13 of them? It's literally impossible.
When can you get Zindi Armada directives? What ops level?
Once every 7 days.
No. What ops level?
49?
No.
You can get them at 49, but you get 200. You get 200 a week.
So 50 is when you actually get 1,000 a week, which means
are you serious?
For all players
I thought it was 40.
Nope.
Well, it might be lower, but like you still don't get a full set of directives every week. You get
if you exclude Zindi from the scoring for G4 players and down who still have a milestone of 13,000, how are they supposed to do this week? So
they can't. Okay. And
Ops 23 still has a 13,000 milestone.
Ops 43 does, yeah. Which, by the way,
Ops 23.
Oh, for that event. But now
Because these are 20 and up.
Ops 23 has a different ahead of the curve milestone, though. They can actually skip that event without them being. They can skip that event without penalty because their ahead of the curve milestone is actually significantly less. That is
no,
one.
It's not.
Sure, it is.
It's really not. Though. It's 10,900 points. It's only
not for
900
Ops. Not for Ops 23. It's not. It's in.
Yes, it is.
It's 9,000 something. Hang on.
Nope.
8,400. It's 80.
Are you sitting down?
Oh, it's Ops 23.
Ops 23 has a milestone of 10,900 for ahead of the curve.
And be wrong. You are wrong.
Ops 20. You know what? You got me by one ops level, Jules. You picked that number on purpose.
I chose that.
Yeah, you did. You set me up, Jules. Ops 22 has the 8,400 points. Gosh darn it. All right.
He sat you up, I think, instead of set you up.
But you're right. The reason that you thought that way is that you're right. The final weapon event does not show up for players less than 23, which means the ops bracket 20 to 22 includes a lower milestone because that event, and I think not sure if the Zen Deep event, but that event does not show up. That makes sense. But at Ops 23, it's still 13,000 points. So regardless of what you do to change the Zindy scoring, it needs to be broken up more for the lower ops players so they can actually achieve the top milestone of these events every week in order to be able to participate ahead of the curve.
Yep.
I would go further and talk about some of the mini dailies, specifically the limited artifact. And I want to dive into that deeper later. Did you have anything else that you wanted to chat about?
No, and I know that I keep diving into these percentages and these numbers because Scopely is extremely data driven. All right. They are so data driven. It's so frustrating sometimes. Jules has had the unique perspective of watching me interact with some of the number crunchers over there. And sometimes it is frustrating because and you guys have heard me say this, interpretation of data matters. Okay. It's not always just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's why. What prompted those numbers? Why did this officer do well? For example, when we're looking at the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 officer milestone recruits that we got last month for Soren, they are not happy with the data. But now let me ask, why wouldn't they be happy with the data? Or why? Let me rephrase. Do we think we know why players didn't spend as much? The mechanic was good. We as players loved the mechanic.
Yes.
So why didn't players spend as much cash on it?
The officer selection.
The officer was terrible. The officer.
And the packs were kind of bad last month, too.
He is hot garbage. The officer was meh. Officer meh, because they had a poopy officer, useless officer. Okay? The officer too limited. Okay? Soren is garbage. I
unlocked him because of the SMS, and I would not have invested anything if they didn't run that SMS. I wouldn't even got the unlock.
Risk Breaker jokes, although it's a brilliant idea, put both rares in there, and that would have been a better milestone turnout than Soren.
Okay, I was gonna say, I feel like more people would have spent more money if we got the rares out of somewhere.
Sure,
because it was yet another month of 2 rares that are more rare than the epic.
Yeah. Look at the chat. The chat liked the rares better this month. Soren was not a desirable officer. But here's my fear, and what I've already heard from whispering back alley conversations. They tried something new. The numbers don't support that it was successful.
Wait. So
it's not good.
I imagine my question will be answered on Tuesday. And I apologize if my voice is kind of crackly. I've been sick, but are they not going to do that again? And
I guess we'll find out on Tuesday.
I guess my question for the last like 15 minutes while you've been talking about participation numbers is, has the participation in the mat spending, like building SMS or the ship parts SMS over the last week, where we haven't had any paired officer SMSs, has that participation gone down?
Of course.
Compared to, yeah.
For
so
any
like,
intelligent player, it would, Tarpy, and that's what I'm talking about. We're the 6%ers, okay? I don't know about you guys, but without the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 heroic solo milestones, for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, how many of you guys have done material dailies? Not me. Not
at all.
one. Not a single one. All right? So if there was interpretation of data to be had, I would suggest exactly what Tarpy is suggesting. Look at your engagement in the material spend dailies now as compared to when tier 1, 2, and 3 heroic solo milestones were up, and maybe that will provide a second perspective. All right? Because even then, the officer being hot garbage, you still had some players who were willing to put a few materials into it, because then it gave points in ahead of the curve. And you could almost make the justification that you were earning 2 epic officers at that point, one through RNG and one through the tier 1, 2, and 3 heroic solo milestones. Interpretation of data is so key, and this is where I think that they get things wrong more often than I care to admit. This is why the March to Oblivion event was wrong. This is why they get power gained events wrong. All right? It's interpretation of data. And so, what data looks like is different than how we play as players and how we find value in something that's being offered. I knew that this was a dangerous experiment, Jules, because it was a beautiful mechanic with a terrible officer. I honestly didn't know how the community was going to respond. Well, they responded kind of how we might have feared, which is they didn't go all out. Even the whales did not go all out because this officer is not worth maxing. You know? So if you had, now, not that I'm advocating for this, but let's look at historical officers. You had Borg Hugh. You had even DJz Tolra turning out to be a fantastic officer. Vial, how do you say her name? Mizriad Vial is a great below deck officer. Let's go back further. Carol Freeman. Oh God, can you imagine how that would have gone? Carol Freeman generated the most officer sales than any officer in history of this game. And you essentially kind of offered the exact same thing for Soren. You could have had Carol Freeman again if it was a Carol Freeman style officer. Do it with Gwen DeMarco. See what happens. Woo!
So,
okay?
Like, compare the SMS we had last weekend. Wasn't there 2 epics that my cold brain is currently spacing on who they were?
It was an SLB.
But like, there was some.
They did an SLB. It had Gwen and who else did it have? Gwen.
There was an SMS too. And stfc.space is failing me right now, and just no results found in any events ever. But
pick Hugh. Hugh and Vial. No, it was Gwen and Phlox.
No.
There was an SMS. I don't remember. I must not have found value.
Well,
in it.
the only. Yeah.
I must not have found value.
So
in
it'd
it,
be interesting.
I might have been on vacation. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see the comparison between the arc with Saran Wrap SMS and the ahead of the curve versus
Saran Wrap.
I think the ahead of the curve.
What?
That's what I've been calling him all month.
Why? Soren is a great character. Okay, he actually doesn't deserve to have such crappy abilities. He was an amazing character. I love that story. Generations was a great movie.
Saran Wrap.
Oh God. So disrespectful to a great character.
You're being tarpish.
All right. You know what? It's official. That is now a new word. All right. I was scolded for using that last time, but now she's using it, so I'm allowed to now. All right. Yes,
I
Stanley
mean-
Mac says, "Ooh,
Oxford
burn."
just now.
Whew.
Put it in the dictionary.
All right. Fair. All right. That's fair. I think interpretation of the data is key. That's where Scopely messes up sometimes.
Yeah.
I hope that that those who are present, those who are listening, who's listened to the content later, just understand it was a wonderful, amazing mechanic. The officer wasn't desirable. So that's why, and I have been advocating in dev chat that this needs to be something that they try for another month or two before they give up on. Surely to goodness, you guys are going to give us a decent officer within the next 60 days. I don't expect it next month. I mean, what do you guys think we're gonna get in January? Just asking. Just asking if anybody, you 6%ers, you guys are ahead of the curve, okay? You guys know the patterns of this game. What are you getting next month?
Bugs.
You're getting part 3 of the trio. That's right. Rocky Mountain says we're getting hot garbage. Damn straight. You're getting the third set of the new PvP strike team that doesn't work as well as the old strike
That's
teams.
a leak. Come on, DJs. That's a leak.
That is not a leak. It's
Yay,
presumption. We've gotten 1, we got 2, now we're going to get 3. I'm not telling you, by the way, what characters they are, but we know what their abilities are going to be. Okay? We know what the abilities are going to be. It's going to be the third set. Can you imagine? What's the third set? What are we missing, Jules Verne? Is it the battleship one? I haven't paid attention to these because
Hull breach, I think.
It's not specific to a ship, so just the whole breach.
The whole breach one. Okay, so
Ooh,
the one that most people probably use the most of, right? Hull breach. Can you imagine what the Hull breach fans out there would say if they didn't actually release the Hull breach set? I mean, they can't not do it. Because then everybody be like, well, it's unfair. They got an officer set that was supposed to be better than that. I didn't get my set for Hull breach. Even if the officers are garbage. They can't.
I'm interested to see.
They can't not do it. Okay? They can't not do it.
Below deck abilities are going to be.
Well, I mean, we'll find that out very soon. But they can't not do it. I mean, it's straight logic. We know what's coming. So if, Tarpy, they ran Tier 1, 2, and 3 heroics in January, I still don't think they're going to get the data they're looking for because the officer's still going to be garbage. You know,
if they stuck the rares in there too, there would probably be a lot of spending.
Could be.
Or they stuck choice tokens for a rare.
And maybe that's what they look at doing. Maybe that's how they spice it up. All right. I actually would say this. Throw choice shard tokens in there and then put all of the new strike teams in an event store and let us pick the ones we want. Then
Wait,
Jules,
that was how they did it this weekend.
Then you're going to with the holiday choice token. Well, then you get
Yeah,
spending.
that was the SMS they did.
Then you get
that
spending.
was an SMS and SLB. Yeah.
That's right,
So
Corey.
that would be
They're
really
not
cool.
going to get good data until they have good officers that people want. And I agree. Now, all that to say, all right, we're coming back. I digressed when we were talking about material spend and all that stuff. But coming back to ahead of the curve, Jules is going to teach you guys how to effectively get through this. And while I have said from the beginning that there are still tweaks that need to be done, this mechanic is the core mechanic is sound. Do I think that this event is designed to require perfection? No, it's not. Do I think some of the points need to be modified? Sure. We've got ops targeting problems, as we just demonstrated with the Zindi Armadas. Okay? Even if they fix the Zindi, an Ops 23 can't run them. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure, Jules, don't you have to have an ACC at 25 before you can start an Armada? Or is it 20?
23.
Oh, it is 23. That's why they chose 23. Okay. How many epic directives do you Ops 23s have out there? Probably a bunch. Right? Yeah. This is part of the tweak. All right. I am not saying that the events are perfect. I think the rewards are not. I do think we have to have the return of Latinum. We have to have the return of Officer XP. We got to have the return of Ultra Recruit tokens. All right. But the core, the way that this event was designed, the way it was set up with this meta, we've had far worse and far more expensive metas. I mean, every meta we've ever had has required a ridiculous amount of material spend. Even the 4 of 11 and the 10D ones. This one technically didn't require any material spend, technically, depending on your ops and your capabilities. So there's a lot of ways to look at the perspective on this. And I will also say, in summary, for my piece of this, that as always, the reward as compared to the effort has always been up to the player. But for the audience of Talking Trek, 6%ers you are, I get it. I understand. Because it would appear that 70+% of our audience fall into the top 6% of this game. Which, by the way, you should be daggone proud of yourselves for that. Pat yourself on the back. You guys are the 6%ers. You're the guys who completed Milestone 4. Okay? Or you're the top 23% of the game in which you completed at least Milestone 3. And if you did, that's at least a full epic every 2 months. Now, one other comparison before we get into how to complete it. What else in the game that we do every single month requires perfection? What else requires perfection?
The Battle Pass Overflow event.
Sure. Battle Pass Overflow. What does it award? What does the Battle Pass Overflow award you?
The de-sealing rods for the treasury.
Well, that can't be it.
Right.
There's got to be some other amazing rewards. I mean, we're talking perfection, Jules. 20 days, 20 events, don't miss a beat, completion, no 3 milestones, no 2 milestones, but all 4 milestones of all 20 events for all 20 days. We must be talking like the equivalent of like $500 worth of Latinum and millions of officer XP. What are we getting? It's got to be big.
Well, there is
20K
Latinum, but there's also
20K.
de-sealing rods.
Wait,
And some officer shards.
20K? You mean 20 million,
at
Sharpie,
leg
right?
ups.
20 million.
No.
Right, 20K?
20K.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about
Ultra
officer recruit
recruit
tokens? There's probably got to be tens of thousands of ultra tokens in that thing, right?
Well, there's 8s of hundreds. 1 8 of hundreds.
There's 8s of hundreds.
Fees matters.
Okay. And, well, okay, fine. Maybe the value's in the de-sealing rods then. It must allow you to unlock a treasury every month, right?
No.
Or every 2 months, maybe. We're top 24%. So every 2 months we get a treasury that contains 20 officer shards. Well, 60,
sure?
I guess 60 officer shards, but of 3 different officers, it's not even a full unlock. They're good officers usually, but it's still only like 20 shards of like 2 or 3 officers. But that must mean that we get one every single month. That way we can get the full unlock in like 2 or 3 months, right?
Especially if you don't get that treasury, sure. Because there's one without officer shards.
That's true. That's true. So how many de-sealing rods do we get, by the way? Anyway, I'm just saying. We get one like every month. Right?
$720 a month total if there's a flash pass.
No. I'm not talking about Flash Pass. I'm talking about the Battle Pass Overflow. It's perfection. Which, by the way, you're right. The Officer Flash Pass also requires perfection. But anyway, either way, that's fine. It's got to be big rewards. What does one Overflow give?
Less than 10%.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
And 1/11th.
You mean I got to do 10 full, perfect completions of battle passes to get one treasury?
Not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
It's
Monthly tokens for doing 28 days of activity. You get to ceiling rods there too.
Okay, fine. So how many do I
If
get?
you're not saving them up for
Shiny.
generational jumps.
For the in case you couldn't hear my sarcasm, I know exactly what I'm doing. Shani says I need to start playing the game. I know exactly what the math
I am
is.
so positive.
It's
I'm
300.
full of
What
positive
game?
energy.
It's
There's a game?
360 de-sealing rods out of the 4,000. It needs to be open, which means you guys are placing more value on a Battle Pass completion event that pays you less than 10% of a free treasury. But we're going to shun a free epic unlock every 2 months? Or possibly every 1 month? You guys chase the Battle Pass perfection. You guys fuss when something's wrong, when the points aren't right. By God, the de-sealing rods are gold. We got to have Scopely. Give me my de-sealing rods, damn it. 10%. 9%, by the way, is what it unlocks. 9%.
9%.
That lat from your treasury every 4 months or however frequently you get it, that actually is pretty significant for free-to-play people.
Okay, cool.
Or low-spend people.
But you just said
Like, I hope
it's every 4 months, right?
I hope they give us more of these monthly things, like the Boldly Go stuff. That would be awesome. Do that more.
All right.
We'll care less about the de-sealing rods.
You know what? In all fairness, you guys are kind of making my point. If you perceive the value of rewards to be worth your time, then you participate. I do agree that these officers are not the most attractive officers in the game, but you guys have said it time and time and time again. Officer shards are officer shards. Officer levels are officer levels. We're all still working on the mess hall, except for like one player in the game. Okay? Officer levels still count. It's a free epic. Even if it's a trashy epic, it's good for 5 levels in your mess hall.
You just called Picard trashy.
I said,
someone has a level 99 mess hall?
Yes. Who is it? Panda.
Wow.
Panda has
Panda.
it. Yeah, Panda's got a level
On
99.
my server, yeah.
Yep.
Holy
Pirate Panda has a level 99. Woo!
And a pirate. Get it right.
Cruzito says, so free poop is better than no poop? You bet! You finally get it, Cruzito! Actually, I think he was probably joking. But the button got stuck.
There's an Oprah meme here.
I think you were probably joking. But yes, because they might not, they still provide a benefit, even if it's kind of crappy. Okay?
Good for you.
They still provide a benefit. And by the way, I'm not suggesting that we're chasing pick officers, Scaly. Me personally, I'd be happy with Phlox or Trip Tucker or Archer. I'd be happy with any of those three. And honestly, Pick Worf isn't as trashy as you guys say he is. I mean, he is mostly trashy, but not 100% trashy. Okay. And Venati says I got lucky with Phlox. I mean, there you go.
Yay, boy.
Voltron says,
That's a life choice.
Is a max pick officer decent? No one knows. Because no one knows, because no one's done it, because they don't appear to be worth it. All right? Then you have some players who just collect officers. Long story short is, just like any other event, it's up to you. Vlad said earlier, it's not worth it to me. I'm not going to do it. I didn't score any points. I'm not going to this month. And that is ultimately your choice. And that's what's great about it. You do have a choice. But when it comes down to events in this game, we have long adopted the position of do it if you want. The completionist attitude has to stop. And I think Scopely is doing their part at trying to enforce that. We could look at the New Year's Eve event and actually prove that completion was never in the cards for 100% of players. Now, it ended up being that way, which, by the way, we'll talk about New Year's Eve events here in a second, but Scopely handled that freaking perfectly. It was intended to be 60% free-to-play, 40% heroic. They foobarred it. They messed it up and immediately came out and owned it and then comped like 90% of the event. And for some players, it was 100%, depending on what you had already accomplished. Okay? That event where they intended it to be 60% free to play, auto completed like 80 or 90% of that event for almost every player. And for those of you who were actively engaging in that, you got 100% out of it.
Yeah, and the big thing was there was the Revenant Borg Polygon event that a lot of players couldn't do, even if they had players in their alliance who did own a Revenant and had extra directives. They still couldn't accumulate that much. So for a lot of players that can do everything but that Revenant, that solved the problem for them.
It did.
They finished it.
They finished it. That is how, by the way, that is how compensation should work. Like that, I don't know that they could have handled it any better. Jules, could they have done any better with the New Year's Eve event? Aside from the deployment issues, okay? The design was perfect. The events were refreshing. The UI was 90% impressive, minus the truncation, okay? The hooks worked.
No, I think game design did really well. I think implementation was the hard part.
The design worked well. The scoring hooks were unique. It wasn't the same old stuff that we're used to. It actually made us think about different things. I saw a lot of people doing calculations on their ship repairs. All right. I heard Tarpy just over the moon happy with the rewards she got from the snow globes.
Yep. Still am.
Yeah.
You know, so when we look at this thing and we see how Scopely handled it, given the fact that there ended up being a problem. All right. This was a Bubba Joe quality compensation. This is what Bubba Joe would have said. Auto-completed for everybody, own your mistakes, pay it out, and move on and learn from it. Guess what? They did. Look at Bubba Joe still having an influence on the game 1 year later.
Thanks, Bubba.
The way that they handled the New Year's Eve event was beautiful and perfect. And we're gonna talk about how valuable that event ended up being here in just a little bit as well. And I know I've kind of veered all over the place. I'm not trying to sound like a shill either. I'm just saying I think what they have done for the last 2 weeks has been responsible and player friendly communication. I think they've done a good job. Call me crazy. The event design, when you look at ahead of the curve, has been unique. It's been new. It's been something that they've tried. Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 of the Heroic Solo Milestones. Completely new. Deciding to try something different and fun and just unique. All right. We saw a little bit of that this month with a couple of the events, and the choice mission events. Spectre says I'm wrong. Why? Tell me why. Why do you think I'm wrong? Because I see creative design. And maybe you're right. It certainly says that's because the deciders have been on vacation. The only reasonable people there were the people on the front lines who do all the work anyway. The reasonable people had the con. There's an argument for that. The comps worked. They were appropriate. They weren't stingy. They were generous. They were player beneficial. So that's right. F47 says, let Scopely leadership should take more time off. I'm with you. All right, let them take all the time off in the world. Whoever worked a holiday call, you're the hero. Was every event perfect? No, it absolutely was not. Did you respond to every problem timely and in a player beneficial manner? Yeah, you did. Was it more generous than what we're used to from Scopely? You betcha. That's the way it should be. All right. So, Spectre is complaining about the New Year's Eve compensation. Oh, buddy, you're not going to win. You're not going to get any agreement out of this chat. Look at the chat around you. Love New Year's. Facts. Scopely employees should take more time off. The arc runner during holiday break was the best. I hope they don't go backwards and keep doing this stuff. 10 million lat is free lat is great. New Year's rewards were great. I went from 56 to 59 free to play. You still want to tell me, Spectre, that that the New Year's Eve event was bad? Tarpy will fight you. 50 million lat in a week, says Dr. Warburg. Voltron says, bring New Year's Eve events back. Cruzito says that kind of service will be rewarded with happy spending players. Still want to tell me, Spectre, that New Year's Eve was bad? Get out of here. I love you, but get out of here. You're wrong. All right, hold on. Where's my button? I've got a button for you, Spectre.
You are wrong. Just sit down and be wrong. You are wrong.
All right. Now, Jules has been waiting so patiently. We are 2 hours into a show where I told him he could teach after the 20-minute intro. I am going to shut up now. It's been nice. Been nice.
No, you're not.
Yelling, and I am. I'm going to shut up. See,
We know better.
I'm muted. I'm going to mute myself. And Jules, and I'm just going to drive. Jules is going to tell you guys, now that I've spent an hour and a half praising events and being a big old shill, okay, Jules is going to tell you how you can mathematically and objectively complete ahead of the curve, absolutely free to play. Jules, take it away, bud.
Yep. So you have the link. I think you're already in the sheet. The daily minis. This is actually a creation from Tarpy here on the stage with some help from Quazel. And then she gave me editing permissions, which she probably shouldn't have done. And I did things. So we're just going to look mainly at the info that she presented with a few things that I've added. So taking a look here, you can see that we have our daily, and it's actually crosses out the days that have already happened. So you can see what's happening now, what's coming up the next few days. It's a good little updater until stfc.ovh is updated. Here is your daily counter, so you can kind of see what's going on. And then if you want to go over to the AOTC counter, which is a couple tabs over, this is actually the same thing copied, but if you scroll to the right a little bit, you'll actually see that I've overlaid all the events and created a little calculator to show, and you can kind of select not only which SMSs you're going to finish, but also if you wanted to participate in SLBs, or you're going to participate in SLBs, say you're a person who always tends to place top 1 or 2 in Mining Monday, maybe that's something you said, well, I'm going to go ahead and put first on that because I know I'm going to hit that every single time. Or what I've done is I've set up
the Mining Monday leaderboard also gives ahead of the curve points?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, didn't know that.
You know that?
I
You
don't mind.
so
I don't
that
mind,
makes
so I
sense.
didn't know that. Okay, got it.
I don't mind either. I might when I have to. So this gives you basically a selection of the weekly events. I've excluded the final weapon because we have, as we discussed, that is too difficult to sustainably do. I've also deselected anything that is an SLB. I'm not going to participate in any SLBs for the duration of this 28 days. And I've also deselected any ship parts or build, mats, spend, anything that would require me to do something I didn't want to do already. I've taken that out entirely, and I've only left in fleet commander upgrades and a variety of artifact upgrades in there. So this shows you how you can achieve ahead of the curve with very minimal participation, especially in events that we typically say, hey, that's not free to play, that's heroic, or I don't want to include SLBs in my counter, I don't want to include material spends in my counter. This is a way to complete the event.
You waited 2 hours. That's it. That you waited 2 hours and you took 2 minutes.
Yes, because that is efficient, and we are nothing but not efficient.
I can't believe you couldn't last 2 more minutes.
You couldn't go 2 more minutes. I mean, you could have at least given us 4 minutes, Jules.
Okay, I got more.
Thank you. Achievement, Christmas.
Because when we look at the mini daily SMSs, I have been getting a lot of feedback, which I don't personally feel, because of where I am as a player, that some of these other events that I'm including the artifact and I'm including the fleet commanders are not doable sustainably. Yes, maybe some people had some stocks the last month and they were able to complete them regularly, but now they can't. And they're going down to what they can refine in every 2 days when this event keeps popping up. And they say, hey, I can't do every SMS that's quote unquote free to play. So There's another tab if you want to go over to completing artifact hunt SMS. This is one of the ones. I've actually gone through and found all the different sources and all the different ways to spend the different tokens that you would actually are scoring metrics in the limited time artifact hunt SMS. So first you got your artifact token. This is the loot that you get from Formation Armadas. And it's only possible to redeem this chest. So you can spend 12,000 tokens once during this event.
Oh my gosh, my name is Beck and I like plants and I'm a valley girl and listen to me do all the things on the rap show.
What's up, Moopsie? How you doing, Moopsie? What are you doing, buddy?
Moopsie.
Hi. Okay, anyway, sorry. That was not my fault. I did not interrupt. That was Moopsie.
So you get 180,000 points from that if you're able to line up your redeem. I don't care about lining these things up. I just kind of do them as they come. And then we've got isolatic artifact tokens, and we also have premium artifact tokens and temporal disruptors. Now, the sources for these do actually change based on your ops. So, for instance, the minimum ops that actually has this event is 26 because the artifact tokens, Formation Armadas, that all becomes available at ops 26. But a way to get premium artifact tokens is by starting a Formation Armada, which may not be possible entirely. And it's also from the complex nanotube exchange, which comes from the rare Formation Armadas. Now, that has a minimum ops range of 31. So we're already seeing that players who have this event, who have a top milestone of 2 million and are ops 26 are never going to hit this. Maybe once a month they'll be able to complete this SMS. So going back to our point about maybe some of the scaling by ops range needs to be adjusted a little bit because right now everyone has a 2 million point milestone. I do believe there's some adjustments and I've got some recommendations based on this math. But we also have other sources for Isolytic. So regular sources for Isolytic and premium artifact tokens would be, for instance, for Isolytic, you've got Tarka's weapon. That is one of the options you can pull from the Alliance Tournament store. Hint, hint. That grants you a bundle of Isolytic artifact tokens every day. You also have the Artifact Hall bundle in the X-Borg store. This opens up at Ops 40. I know a lot of players would rather save their rare X-Borg tokens and not redeem this chest, but with just a 2 chest pull, you can sustainably do this event. So maybe you're kind of balancing where you're spending your rare X-Borg credits. For premium artifact tokens, it's starting uncommon Formation Armadas. You can do 1 a week. It is also getting those from the Artifact Hall in the X-Borg store, and it is from Complex Nanotube Exchange. Being able to maximize that will get you a nice little drip of these premium artifact tokens. Then the more recent is the temporal disruptors. This is regarding all temporal artifacts. There is a free claim. Everyone gets this at Ops 38. Gets a free claim of 150. A Prime can get you an additional 450 if you want to pay for the Prime. Don't need to for this event. You also get 450 if you can do a 3 chest pull for the temporal disruptor parts. This is the silent enemy loop. So if you're engaging in the silent enemy loop and you are doing getting your free claim of your disruptors, you're getting about 600 disruptors every day, which is going to give you a fair amount of points towards this event. The Vindicator recently has added some more sourcing. There's additional sourcing in the rare Zindi Armada bundle. However, that's a very wide range. I didn't include that in this math, but hey, there's more. And then another hint for Alliance tournaments, but there's also a way of trading back excess temporal artifact shards into disruptors. Now, this is a one-time value to trade this back, but then once you've got this stock of temporal disruptors, you can slowly parse it out over several of these events in order to kind of do it sustainably. So all of that said, what do you need to do to complete this mini daily SMS? Well, if I say I'm not going to do the artifact haul ever because I need my rare export credits for other things, I'm going to say my alliance does not do formatas. Well, now I'm only getting about 100,000 points in total every 2 days. I can't do this event every 2 days. I can only do this event maybe every 4 days, or maybe every 6 days. But that's okay. As we saw on our counter, we can actually do that. We don't have to do the artifact every day and still be able to complete ahead of the curve. Additionally, so that is this one. Do you have any questions? I feel like I'm just talking to myself here.
No, absolutely not. I think this is great, and I love the fact that you specify something very, very key. Okay, when I made my calculator, all right, it was, as you mentioned, Jules, a little bit more generic, certainly not nearly as complex or as beautifully amazing. As a matter of fact, the color scheme is the only thing that's awesome about mine. Okay. That being said, mine is based on a 7-day rotation, meaning that you could not, if you could do one of the Zindi Armada events in a month, my calculator didn't allow you to do that. All right. I was basically looking at a 7-day rotation and saying, hey, listen, are you going to do 7 weekly events? Are you going to do 7 pinnacle events? Cool. You do that every single week. It's a 28-day cycle. Then you only have to do 6 of the daily events per month, right? Jules's calculator, which is also named much better. Mine is named Doodah Daily Dim Dum Ding. All right. If you go with his, all right, then in this actual counter right here, where you are doing the check boxes and putting in all these points, it is very, very possible for you to specify that you are going to be able to choose certain events that you can do once a month or twice a month or 3 times a month, and then be able to come in and take a look at the dailies. Notice that he's got Pinnacle checked pretty much every day. Those are the gimmies. We should all be doing the Pinnacle events, all right? But then when you take a look at the dailies, Fleet Commander he's got checked. Artifacts, another Fleet Commander, another Fleet Commander, another Fleet Commander. And by the way, the Fleet Commander events, Jules argues that the artifact ones are probably the easiest one for him. I think the Fleet Commander is probably the easiest one.
Okay, click the work in progress tab, the WIP. I'm going to change that right after we're done. I was actively working on this entire stream.
Ooh.
Same thing here. However, there's only, and this is what's difficult, the metrics for upgrading your Fleet Commander, that's not sustainable because you will eventually max your Fleet Commander and have nowhere to spend these resources. So you cannot score on these.
Yes! Because the solo milestone, not the leaderboard part of this, but the solo milestone part of this only requires redemption of the uncommon skill points from the Titan A.
Well, hold on. I'm getting there because they also have the metrics for spend Commander XP and spend uncommon credits and spend rare credits and spend Commander credits, right?
I see what you did.
Right? I'm just saying that those ones, I'm ignoring them entirely.
Right
because
here.
That's not sustainable.
Yeah.
The event is still sustainable if you have a Titan and it's at least tier 3.
What?
Which, by the way,
are you telling
is
me?
An Ops 37 player and above.
Tier 3 Titan is all that's necessary to make the Fleet Commander SMS completely obtainable every single time it runs.
Yes, but you have to do your dailies. And there's a lot of people who don't do their dailies anymore for Titan and are struggling on this event. So you have to do your dailies for Titan, because you need to be able to redeem it for the Fleet Commander Skill Points bundle that is in the support tab in your refinery. In that, you're going to get the uncommon skill points in which you can then redeem in the refinery for points. You're then also going to get the rare skill point fragments, which you'll have to convert into rare skill points, which then you have to spend on a skill at a Fleet Commander. Now, this is finite, but the reason why I'm putting this here is because there is so much rare skill points required, and you only need to spend 3. 3 rare skill points finishes your event. And if you can, at this time, go into your game and open up Fleet Commander Janeway.
Okay. Fleet Commander Janeway. Let's open up Fleet Commander Janeway. And for those of you in podcast form, we are just popping down. As a matter of fact, it's a good example, Jules, because my Fleet Commander Janeway, I just recently unlocked because of whatever refinery she's in. Was it Vindicator? I just recently unlocked her, and I haven't done anything. She is tier 1, level 1 for me with no skills. So she's absolutely a perfect example. I am set up for a long time when it comes to the Fleet Commander event. But
you may not actually see this at your stage, but Fleet Commander Janeway is one of the rare ones where early on in her skills, so like level 3 or 4 of her skills, about midway down, or some of the gold bordered ones, they start requiring rare skill points. A very small amount of rare skill points, but like 1 maybe or 2 at a time. So it's very easy to just upgrade 1 skill every so often and be able to complete this event. So I know, for instance, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to get enough rare skill points, but I have the ability to spend 3 rare skill points at a time for the next however many days. I have no idea how many, but it's in the hundreds. So I'm going to post a picture here in the Discord chat room so you can see one of these skills.
Okay.
So this is Pathfinder base warp speed, and it only is charging me 1 rare skill point. So I can hit this a couple of times in order to complete my event. Yes, it is still finite. I agree. Cruzito is bringing up, what if you're tapped on FC? So what if you've upgraded all of your fleet commanders and you've upgraded all of their skills, or, for instance, you may be locked on your command center, you cannot upgrade any more skills, then it may be a little bit more difficult to complete this event on a regular basis. So for you, as a player, if you're at that spot, then you're probably a top level player in which the artifacts event is the one that you're going to do every single time.
No. I mean, yes.
No, here's what I'm saying. Here, Cruzito is tapped out on his fleet commanders, which means
you can always buy skills for the officer, even if you don't need those skills,
exactly.
Right?
You don't attain enough of them. So if he's tapped out, if he said, great, I've redeemed all of my uncommon, I'm not going to get enough. Even at tier 12, you're not going to get enough just based on the redeem uncommon skill points alone. Actually, that's a lie.
That's not true. Yeah, listen, that's what I'm saying. If you have a tier 3 Titan, you can pull this chest 3 times every 2 days. Here's what the Titan Refinery gives. All right, and this I can actually demonstrate because I haven't pulled any of my dailies yet. Here's the Fleet Commander skill points. Double chest will get you 150 skill points. Okay. Every 2 days, this event pops. Double chest, 2 days. That's 300 skill points. I will come back into the command center. I will press this middle button I'm doing mine for Janeway right now, but I'll spend 30 chests for 300 skill points. Problem solved. Now, do you actually get benefit? No, because you're maxed out on your fleet commander. Okay, so maybe the artifact event gives you tangible benefit in other areas, but this event is infinitely sustainable if you have a tier 3 Titan. That's
so
right.
Tier 3, you'll need to mix in some rare skill points every now, but tier 10 and above, you don't even have to care about rare skill points at all. I think that's the lesson here.
And that's if you were going to do it every 2 days. Maybe you do it every 4 days. And then you can still do it tier 3 without needing rare skill points. I mean, and that is the point of the spreadsheet, to plan it out. This is a meta. Plan it out. Figure out what you can do. Look at this chart. Okay? Check the things that you want to do. And for those of you in the podcast audience, I've put a ton of screenshots and a ton of links in the graphics room starting at approximately 11:25. There's the link to the spreadsheet, a link to the research, a link to the chart Jules was talking about, and a couple of other screenshots and things like that for you guys to be able to see what he has been discussing and how you can plan your meta progress, because that's what it is. This is a meta. You got to figure out where you're going to get your points. By the way, if you find value in the end game rewards, I cannot sit here and say, without being a hypocrite, that 120 epic shards is worthless. I mean, we talk about officer sourcing all the time. And even though these aren't the best officers, which I agree with, they're going to cycle at least a couple of times a year. They're going to cycle. This is not a mechanic that I want to give up on just because we don't like the officers that showed up in month 1. Okay? Because this mechanic is great. This mechanic is offering 100 epic shards every 28 days with engagement. Tell me any other reliable source of epic officers shard sourcing like that at that level that exists in the game. If they cycle this, Jules, and put in better officers coming up here in a couple of months, I suspect that we'll have a different attitude in the community regarding ahead of the curve. It might even be, call me crazy, and I don't think Scopely actually did this, but maybe we could turn lemons into lemonade, community, and say they put the crappy officers in there so that we had a learning curve, so that players who missed out on it, like Putz, who are very upset, don't feel horribly punished by the fact that they didn't get picked Worf. Right? And it gives us an opportunity to learn. It gives us an opportunity to figure this thing out before they put something valuable in there that players aren't going to want to miss. All right? That's just me being rosy-eyed, everybody. But why don't we use this time, this warm-up time, if the rewards aren't that great, to possibly look at this mechanic, learn it, figure out how we're going to complete it later so that when we do get officers that are valuable in here, well, then we're ready. Right? Lost In says, hopefully they put Soren in the next one. That might actually get me to not do it. I'm joking. Obviously, I'm joking. All right. But yeah. Go ahead, Tarpy. What you got?
So the timing for when a lot of people finished the last one, and I know the Mega Cube event isn't everybody's cup of tea anymore, but for some segment of the population, it was fantastic because they got 120 epic officer shards during the first day of the Mega Cube event, which can actually really help them for the Borg stuff. Like, that was really... Yeah, that recruit SLB.
That's a good chunk, but that recruit SLB is all about the experience. You can be completely outstripped simply by a level in a Borg.
Absolutely, but it doesn't hurt, especially for lower ops levels that can actually complete it, to get an entire epic officer unlock. Just bonus.
Yeah.
So, you know, I noticed that happened in my bracket a couple times, even in G6. I was like, cool, good for them. Like, yeah.
So DJs, now that we're 2.5 hours in, do you want to take your break?
Nah, I do have a question. I could take a break. I probably do need to take a break. I just have a quick question. All right. Yeah. We've talked all about officer selection. Okay. We've talked a great deal about officer selection with regards to ahead of the curve. We also actually spent a little bit of time with officer selection regarding the heroic tier 1, 2, and 3 milestone events when Soren came out, right? We're talking about officer selection in a couple of different areas where maybe we feel like Scopely has been a little bit weaker over the last 2 to 3 months. We all agreed? What if?
Yes.
As I just mentioned, officers got better. What if it wasn't just epics? As a matter of fact, we've been asking for rares in the transporter pattern store for actually a really long time, as long as they're priced appropriately, right? But we've been asking for that. What if you guys mentioned earlier that they would have had better luck out of the heroic tier 1, 2, and 3 events if there was the rares this month and not Soren, for example, right? You guys would have engaged more for the rares. What if the Admiral's recruit box also had rares? Or there was a choice for the rares. I mean, all I'm saying is this all boils down to the officers, right? Doesn't this all boil down to the officers? If they offered us sourcing on something we felt to be valuable, this mechanic suddenly doesn't look that bad. or am I misinterpreting? Forgotten
I don't think you're
Sixes.
misinterpreting. I think that there is some potholes that we need to patch, and that is mainly for Ops 40 and below players, some G4 players. I think there's another adjustment that needs to be made. I don't think it's adjustments ahead of the curve. Like I don't personally think that event itself needs adjusting. I think it's the mini SMSs that have unreachable milestones for a lot of players.
Sure.
I think some of those need to be adjusted, and we can get into the nitty gritty with some recommendations now that I've kind of done some of the math.
Agreed. All right. Yeah, I think that's actually a really, really good summary. And I'm looking forward to working with Jules on that because let me tell you, Jules has been very, very influential in Dev Chat. He's done a very, very good job over there. He is just as analytical and mathematical as he is on this show. He has been a phenomenal influence over there. And as a matter of fact, I can tell you that he was one of the first people, him and Stewie were actually among the first people to call out this whole thing with the Kirshara artifact. Then I got to have a conversation with them later when they kind of shot Stewie and Jules down, and I didn't quite understand the reasoning for it. And then I brought the conversation back up, I think, when was that, Jules? Yesterday or the day before? It was whenever Alliance Tournament started. When did that start? Yesterday, right? Alliance Tournament started, and you sent me a message. You were like, hey, listen, I mentioned the Kirshara. This was the message they sent back. And I'm like, okay, well, let me go. And I had another conversation. And I feel like that communication maybe just presented it in a different way because the targeting was wrong. All right. And they were under the understanding that they just turned it on in the store and like nothing had really changed. And I'm like, well, there obviously was a change because there was a targeting issue. And then when they went in and looked at it, they were like, oh, yeah, it was a different targeting code. Like it was a different bundle than they actually had in it for the very, very first run because it was removed, if you guys remember. So that resulted in the amazing change that you guys saw today, which was the Kirshara artifact is back, free to play for all players, regardless of current ownership. I got to give Stewie and Jules primary credit on that. All right, they did a fantastic job. But yeah, in Master League, that's fair.
In Master League.
In Master League, sorry. In Master League, okay? That's correct, in Master League. But that provides further evidence and reward and motivation towards getting ascended into that Master League. You're right, Tarpy. That is the qualifying key word there. But that has been something we pushed for months. And then when it showed back up, we were all super happy. But then Jules was like, I think why is it only for current owners? And it actually took a couple of conversations for us to navigate around the issue actually just being targeting. And when I was able to have that conversation, then it fell into place. And they acknowledged, as you guys saw from the announcement today, that, oh, well, that was not our intention. Yeah, it was supposed to be on for everybody. That is fantastic. Now, Spectre says they need to offer it in all leagues. I think I disagree with that. I think that there needs to be a caliber of reward that is better with your performance. Again, this comes down to engagement, and it comes down to your choice and participation with your team. Okay? This is Alliance tournaments. It's meant for the best. The best rewards belong to the best alliances. But, Tarpy, what do you got?
It's already set up like that. Like, it's already set up to have the Kirshara, like, with the rest of the best. I get what you're saying, and I'm trying to say it would be nice if it was in whatever the next one down is, too.
Expert.
I could see that being, but not all the way. Not all the way. I could see expert possibly, but okay. What you got?
I think it's garbage, and so leave it in Master League. Make the less people that can buy it, the better, because it is the only thing in the entire Alliance tournament store that does not really help anyone's progression or game. You get no benefit. You get nothing added to the game, added to your currencies. I bought it the day it came out, and I hate that thing.
I'm trying to keep my mouth shut.
He disagrees. I think it's the least valuable thing in the Master League. Okay, granted, it might be better than like the Swarm Prime or something for higher level players, but out of everything in the Master League store, I find it easily the least valuable thing. If you're gonna make anything available to lower leagues, pick something else. Give us Tarkus.
Again. Well,
again,
the chat matters. You are not. You do not make fans in chat here lately. I think you like being. I think you like being the opposite, the voice of the opposition.
I'm going to support.
So that's
I'm going to
probably
support
why I
matters.
have to change my tune.
I'm going to support matters in one little thing here. It is still broken. Like it's not 100% there, and it you know, it works 90% of the time, all of the time.
Okay.
So I get what he's saying, that he gets frustrated about it not working all of the time. But my retort back to him when we were discussing this earlier was that I would still like it that 90% of the time.
That's exactly right. And let me point out for people, because I've heard that argument, by the way, that's still broken. Yes, it is. But we also literally demanded that from Scope. They pulled it because it was broken and did not, this is their words, not mine. They said they pulled it because they didn't want customers to experience frustration with the product they knew was defective. What was our response? Put it in there anyway. We know it's broken, but we would still like for it to work the 90% of the time versus 0% of the time. That's right, Lost In. We play Star Trek Fleet Command. We are used to things not working perfectly. It's fine. I
zoned out. Are we talking about the Kirshara or the Alliance tournaments in general?
Kirshara. Kirshara, but you know what?
Okay.
Alliance tournaments falls into the exact same conversation. Earlier today, I was having a conversation in chat with Jay Boo, and he was really fussy about the leaderboards being, like, the alliances being broken in two. Okay? Right? Like, he was fussy. He's like, I don't remember this happening, even though this, by the way, is not new. I do think it's more expanded this time, Jules. I think a lot more alliances are affected this time than they were last run. But this was a problem last run, too. You guys will remember, those of you who were affected, you got improperly relegated, a lot of you. And then Scopely, after the tournament came back, not only gave you your tournament credits, put your alliance back in the proper league, and awarded you the Emerald Chain XP. As a matter of fact, a couple of you actually got overcompensated, but nobody fussed because you were inconvenienced the entire time during the tournament. You deserved a few extra thousand Emerald Chain XP. Everything's fine. Nobody's counting. Nobody's worried about it. But do you guys remember this conversation? This was a thing. Then they took it offline, and we said, for the love of Pete Hammy, bring it back. It matters you were on the side that says, bring it back. I don't care how freaking broken it is. I want it back because the rewards were valuable to me.
Yep, 100%.
So I had to remind players of that today. Wow, why? Alliance tournaments is FUBAR. This is terrible. Why are they running it this way? Because we demanded it. And they came out and said, we know it's not perfect. Are you sure you still want it? And we said, yeah. Better than not running it. It's literally better to have it broken than it is to not have it at all. We said the same thing about Kirshara. So, I said this morning, and again, I know I'm going to catch so much grief after this podcast hits air. I'm not shilling. I'm simply saying it's better to have it in its imperfect form than to not have it at all. Guys, if we waited on perfect product, we wouldn't have a freaking game to play.
I feel like we also have a scale of how broken is too broken, because we said the opposite for arenas. Like, this was too broken to do anything.
That's true. It was very freaking broken. All right. And that's a fair point. That is a fair point. But when Scopely listens to us, when they actually do what we ask, it's really hard to be upset about it. They brought Kirshara back. No, it's not perfect. But they brought it back because we begged them for it. They brought tournaments back because we begged them for it. They said to us, Jules, you're witness. They said, guys, this product isn't where we want it to be yet. You guys all heard the conversation with Hammy. We wanted it. They said, okay, here's your medicine. So if the Alliance leaderboards are kind of messed up, which was a problem the last time it ran, yeah, that sucks. I'm glad that they're working on it, but I can't be pissed that it happened because they kind of told us it wasn't ready. They kind of said it was going to happen, kind of.
Yeah. Not kind of. Absolutely they did.
Kind of. All right. That's right, Lawson. Pulling it because it's broken. If they pulled everything was broken, we'd never have anything. All right. That's right, Duder. I'm gonna actually read this comment. He says the charm of this game is the perpetual poop show. And he says, I say this with love. But I mean, it is. It's become a punchline for us. How many events are going to work versus not work? I mean, we get enjoyment and entertainment out of just poking fun at this game. Yet we're all still here.
And we still spend money, a lot of us.
Well, a lot of people do. The fact that the game is broken is part of the challenge, Recursion. He says that's expert mode. All right. Yeah. Now, I agree. Spock says, yes, we'd rather have busted tournaments than no tournaments. But the fact that we did want that should tell Scopely how much we value it and how they should prioritize fixing it. That's a fair statement. That's a very fair statement, and one that Scopely should take seriously, Spock. I think it's a very, very valid point. But it's hard for us here at this moment in time to be very fussy about the fact that they're broken because they told us they would be. All right. Not only that, but Alliance Tournament comp was sent out today, if I'm not mistaken. Kirshar Artifact was corrected in its targeting and due in large part to Stewie and Jules. And if I'm not mistaken, this was also in the announcement that they just added some more of the New Year's Eve tokens by an extra 3,200. So now you got 4,800 more snow globes coming for those amazing pulls in the event store.
Can we talk about the comp? Specifically the reward thing that is stuck in October that we can't turn in.
Yes, they know about that.
No, that was fixed.
Yeah, they knew that. That was flipped over. That was in the emergency rations chest, right? Yeah, fixed.
Good.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So good. All right.
It's not even January's, which has a slight inflation over October, so it's even better.
Yay! All right. Yeah, it's January.
And will last for a long time.
Yeah, and that'll last for, it should last for 90 to 120 days. 90 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know. Again, holiday season, time off, vacation, hanging out with my boys, playing a little bit of Fortnite with Matters and Tarpy and Madrox and Applesauce. I lovingly call him Applesauce. Does he play Star Trek? He does, right? Maple Butter? I literally never, ever see him in the Star Trek podcast, but by golly, he's there. When we play Fortnite, there's Maple Butter.
I swear I see his name. Yeah.
Well, hi, Decades.
His real name isn't Maple Butter.
His real name is not Maple Butter? I've
He-
teased him. I've given him a nickname of Applesauce. It's not Maple Butter. It's Applesauce.
Wait.
But it's been fun. We've actually had a lot of fun, community. If you guys like Fortnite, or even if you thought you won't, if you've not liked it in the past, we have enjoyed that. It's kind of been nice over the holiday break to kind of take our mind off some things and just kind of sit around and shoot and be silly. It's been a lot of fun. I know he's in the Discord, but I don't generally see him talk and chat. But he's been in like every Fortnite stream.
You say that, but he's typed a bunch of stuff today. Like, I literally just looked him up.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Like, and yesterday, and
well, golly,
3 days ago.
Shout out Applesauce, love you, baby. All right, yeah, that's I guess credit to how much I read chat. If you guys don't tag me, it's hard to see. You know, it is also just beautifully amazing, the community, the activity of this community. On average, I was looking at Discord statistics, and I think on average it's like 700 or 800 messages a day. I mean, that's and that was actually old. Let me look at the new insights. Look at the new insights.
I don't want to know how many of those are me.
Here we go. Let's see. Server insights. Let's take a look here and see what you guys are doing in here. On a weekly basis, holy smokes, this is way higher than it was. On a weekly basis, 4,114 messages sent. So yeah, that's like 600-700 a day. Dang. And that was over the last week. So you had the holiday in there and stuff too. So yeah, I mean that's super impressive. Let's look at the daily numbers. Yep, here it is. Daily numbers averaged over the last 30 days, 627 per day. I mean that's pretty awesome. Count DeVille says I can knock out 400 crap posts by lunch. All right, well let's them's rookie numbers. Let's get that posted up there, okay? Boop 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 boop.
Oh no.
No.
So yeah.
That's a big one right there. That's impressively large.
Who's trolling me, Raj? He sees the chat if you troll him. And I see it. I do. I see all the chat. I try to watch all the chat. But yeah, no, it's been great. You guys are awesome. I don't want to take a break. There's no sense in taking a break. We're 2.5 hours in, unless Jules, you feel like you want to. But I did want to talk a little bit about Alliance tournaments, just in general. I am more.
Let's dive right in.
I am more convinced than ever of the strategy with the re-rolls and all this stuff. Karkin, I don't know if you were in chat the other day, but I know I think Thad. I don't remember who it was.
Dude,
it was
I'm in first place right now, or I was until someone. Cheated.
There was two. Well, okay, so there, he didn't cheat. Okay, but this is one of those things that happen because of the Alliance merging thing. All right, one of our teammates got apparently the opportunity to do a couple of extra tasks. All right, yeah. So, but it was only one person. It's only one person, but that's why I thought that they had an opportunity to fix the leaderboards, because we had some people come back in and the scores were merged, and when that happened, he was able to do extra tasks. So that's kind of why I was wondering about that. But you guys are saying that's not been fixed yet? Yeah, okay. Our score is drastically different than it was yesterday.
We're killing it. Keep it up, guys.
Yeah, shout out Peel. We've apparently changed our tag with the new year. We're not
every
Q.
year. It's tradition.
Yeah, we're not Q now. Now we're Peel. Anyway,
I hope you voted. I hope you took some.
I did. I don't think I did vote. But coming into Alliance tasks, Alliance leaderboards notwithstanding, because I know that they're working on that. There is absolute significance. How many of you guys, let me just ask this question. How many of you guys out there, whale or otherwise, are still currently holding more than, say, 40 or 50,000 reroll tokens? Anybody? I hope not. I hope you're not. Because we talked about that last time. The rerolls of the small tokens. I wish I had taken a screenshot of this, Karkin, because the other night I successfully got our Pixelate has 330,000. Oh, God, be still, my broken heart, Pixelate. Why? Master Viper has 250,000. What? Oh, he says I got to have Alliance members to use them on. Do you have a single person Alliance? Pixelate says I spent 100,000 today. I did probably spend 70 or 80,000 yesterday. I did. Shiny has 160,000. Oh God, you're hurting me. You're hurting me, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and grab one here if that's all right. Wait, what? I'm bugged. Look, if I start this, if I try to grab my first task of the day, it says that I've got one active, and it's gonna confirm.
But you don't have one active.
I don't have one active. Okay. All right.
So it doesn't matter.
Might be okay.
Yeah.
That being said, I wish I had taken a screenshot of this the other day, Karkin. I had 4 10,000 point tasks, which I know is not as much as you guys have seen. But
yay, bugs.
I did also have every task in the Alliance. I had at 5,000 points or higher. And I did that by spending like roughly 80 or 90,000 refresh tokens. Or reroll tokens. All right. About less than 100,000 reroll tokens.
They were all grind Zindy. What the hell?
They weren't all grinds, Indy. There was some of them that way for sure. But I got all of my alliance tasks up to 5,000 points. Now, why would I do that? DJs, that's dumb. You're making it harder for people. Yeah, probably. But it's also, by default, not allowing them to skate out and cheap out on a 750-point task. But also giving them a better opportunity to assist the Alliance, Jules, with 5,000 plus point free-to-play grinders tasks. And
which ones are those?
What are they, Jules? Why don't you tell us?
Well, my favorite task is the 6,000 uncommon export credits, because it is the easiest to do by redeeming your safe opportunity exchange in XO1.
But you had to save that up for a long portion of time.
Sure. But it's also like you actively... Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It's actually really easy to save that up by just not redeeming that chest.
Yeah, there's no
I did.
You don't redeem that chest.
Time. Yeah, I saved it this time, and I'm crushing it. That's also my favorite one this time around.
Great.
Let me point out, by the way. Let me point out, by the way, that's one of the OG tasks that pays 4,400 tournament credits and pays 12,000 rerolls. That one is completely free to play, 100% sustainable on a month-to-month basis for those of you who do have the NX01. 100% sustainable. And
even
it pays
for tier
the
1
most.
NX01.
And it pays the
even for
most.
tier 1, at minimum, you'll be able to do this every 24 days. But you'll probably do a lot better if you have been building up your NX01.
Absolutely.
The other two tasks are simple ones because it's just pulling one chest in order to complete the task, and that's something that anyone can do. I believe like Ops 35 or Ops 40 and above for the Dominion, Ops 35 and above for the Epic Borg solos. I can't remember that exactly, but Epic Borg solo directives, you only need 500. That is doable by triple pulling the rare Borg solo Armada chest, which means it can't be on cooldown. So
those are 40 plus, though, isn't that? Not 35, because you need
the Epic Borgs directives.
Any of the Borg solos, the Borg or Dominion, don't you need 40 plus to pull the Epic?
Rare is lower. I think the rare bundle is lower, but you may be right, and then you don't get the directives until you're 40. So this may be a 40 plus for both of these things, but they're both very easy to do when you have that availability, because you can just pull up enough loot in order to triple pull and then hold that chest until the Alliance tournament comes around. You'll do it once, maybe twice if you can time it properly in order to get a really easy 10K task.
With 4,400 credits and 12,000 refresh tokens. And Riskbreaker points out that it only requires a double pull, which I'm pretty sure is correct because there's 250 directives.
In the Dominion. In the Dominion, it's a double pull. In the Epic for the rare Borg solo, it has to be a triple pull, I believe.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, those are very, very grindable, free to play possible tasks if you have the appropriate ops, that is. All right.
You can do twice, up to twice.
Yeah, you can actually pull that twice during the tournaments, but you want to be really careful. Work the cooldowns. You don't want to pull that task a second time, like the next day, because you're going to be on a 3-day cooldown. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Galactic Recruit tokens, of course, we've pointed that out, and they have handed out emergency field rations a few times over the last several weeks. So that one, if you have enough to pull that 9 times, then you could do that task, which also pays 4,400.
What is that number?
Credits.
How much do you need for that?
9 pulls of the emergency field ration store in Galactic Recruits. You need 7,000.
Now, that's not the best use of the emergency field rations, in my point of view. So that is a stretch goal, I think, for a lot of players if they want to be able to at least do a 10,000 point task and really cash in those credits if that's what's valuable to them. But I would not recommend that to the average player.
Yeah.
Another couple of easier ones that we don't necessarily have bolded here, but we say the Forbidden Tech Protomatter. This does require hoarding a lot of Q's Trials bells in order to guarantee that you'll succeed. because when you defeat a Q's trial hostile, you actually gain amount of proto matter. How much proto matter you get is based on the Q's trial or the Q's building, quarter Q, and the level of Q's trial that you're actually going through, whether it's 2-star, 3-star, 4-star.
Just as a quick aside, I might also remind you that could be perfectly timed with one of your daily minis or the weekly events. Q's the what is it? Here it is. The
Tech Tuesday.
Tech Tuesday. All right. That could be really well timed there. Just throwing that out there because it also requires a lot of bells.
This will be done before Tuesday.
Is this one going to be done before Tuesday? Well, but today's Thursday. When did they start? Is today day 2 or day 3?
Yesterday.
Yes. Oh,
Wednesday. So it's going to totally miss Tuesday.
Scope late. Okay. Anyway, never mind. But
anyway, so that one is doable if you have lots of bells. Oops. So if you're able to hoard and get those bells through methods like a battle pass or something like that, because you can't continue to build that up just based on actually collecting, since there's a cap.
You could completely save and never spend any if you move your syndicate fast enough and start getting those gift rewards from that and never spend it and never do your bells in between.
Oh, that's terrible advice. That's terrible advice. But it can be done depending on how you claim your battle passes, how you claim, some of the higher milestone style of events, and then, maybe with a lucky whip pull or something like that. There is ways to do it. Plus, let me point out too, you don't need as many bells with a higher Court of Q because there is a loot bonus on proto matter there every time. I don't remember what it is, but I get a lot of proto matter out of that now. That I feel has been a little bit less of a pain point here as of lately. I mean, it's still challenging, but
so what I would say is that it's player dependent for sure on that one. I think the top 3 tasks, Epic Borg solo directives, Epic Dominion solo directives, and the uncommon export credits, those 3 are generally doable by all players 40 plus if they are actually able to do that. So what I have told my alliance and our alliance strategy is that those are always green. Those are what we shoot for. If that gets on the board, no one re-rolls that. Then we
what do you feel about the Borg? Do like 12 rare Borg or something.
Well, I'll get through the 10K tasks that reward re-rolls because those are the high risk priority for me.
Ones, okay.
Yeah, those are the ones that we develop strategies against. Some of the other ones we haven't developed strategies or we just don't care. So then there's the yellow. The yellow for me is, hey, there is some players that have lots of bells. Not me, but I know that some players in my alliance do that. So if I see that proto matter, I'm going to message them, say, hey, you want to do this or did you already finish your dailies? And I don't get a response in a very fast amount of time, or it's sat on the board for a few hours, I'll re-roll it. There's another one in here that isn't bolded that I actually participated in twice already, and that is the temporal disruptors. Remember when I said that if you have excess temporal artifact shards, that you can trade them back for disruptors? Well, if you get a temporal artifact above level 8, any future shards that you receive, and Great Eye of Aura is a very easy one to kind of look back on, any of those excess shards, you can trade back and get temporal disruptors. Now, it's going to require quite a bit of that, of those temporal disruptors. But if you're saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to do all my daily refines, I'm going to do all my daily redemptions, and what's left over, I may still be able to do this by doing this trade back. Then this is something that some people can do. So I told my alliance, hey, if you see temporal disruptors, PM me on Discord. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to do it real quick. And so I was able to do that twice this go around. So another thing that some people can do, uncommon commander skill points. This is done by upgrading your command center. So it's 1,500 commander skill points. If you're lower command center level, it's going to take you a couple of levels to go up. But I think I can probably pull this number up pretty quickly. But I think it's above command center 50. Every single upgrade gets you more than 1,500. So if you can upgrade your command center even one level, you can finish this right away. So again, that is player specific. Some players are continuing to keep their command center up. Some players are just keeping that back and not upgrading it. Maybe this is an opportunity for them to get an easy 10K task.
And this is the acquire, not the spend.
Yes, this is acquire because when you upgrade, the command center, you actually get a gift bundle of the uncommon commander skill points. The last one is the Section 31 ciphers. Now, this one does require a purchase, but it's a long shot. If you are at the near the tail end of a wave defense battle pass and you buy all the and you redeem all of the milestones, both in free and elite, you can actually complete this in one go. We did not. The last Alliance tournament, it lined up perfectly. This one does not. So this is not doable for this go around, but in the future, you can look at that one and say, hey, we're actually going to line up perfectly. We're going to mark this one yellow. We're going to ask our team if they can do it.
Now, the big reason that we point out and spend so much time talking and teaching about the 10,000 point tasks is actually quite simple. They are the highest rewarding tasks. As Jules just mentioned to Karkin a few moments ago, that is 100% what we are focused on developing strategies for, because these are the ones that get you more. These are the ones that pay you best out of the Alliance Tournament store, and as it turns out, also helps your alliance the most, because every single one of these also come with 12,000 reroll tokens. All right, that gives you 12 additional rerolls for each one of these that you're able to pull off for your team. And by using those rerolls, you are more likely to be able to reroll one of these 10,000 point tasks that we've just been talking about. They are not super common. They are tough to get pulled, but every extra reroll that you have gives you another opportunity at working the odds and getting a task that you can have and work well with. Now, the reason that I like to kind of tease and poke a little bit of fun at people who are holding hundreds of thousands of these, all right, is because I personally feel like those players should take it upon themselves to roll better tasks for their team. All right. And I'm not saying that you should or you have to or that's the right thing, but our team has benefited from some of the players who are consistently and regularly doing 10,000 point tasks to be able to spend those rerolls, not just to make sure we get good points, but to make sure that our free-to-play and our grinder players can get better points too. Ben Sai says in the chat, I like to do the 750-point tasks. Ugh. Ben, that would not work in my alliance. All right? I mean, obviously you can. Okay, we've got people that do it.
750 is too low. You can anything you can do with the 750, you can easily do with the 1500, and at least you're doubling your points.
I like to reroll.
Minimum 1500.
I like to push it a little bit. The other day, I rolled everything 5,000 points. I should have taken a screenshot, but I literally had every available task at 5,000 points or higher. Okay? Which, that might have frustrated some of my team, but it also forces them to engage in a way that is better for the team so that through the event, we are able then to score more points and therefore get more Alliance Tournament credits by placing better. Not only that, community, but that also will give your alliance a winning strategy at preventing relegation and or possibly getting yourselves ascended to a stronger league so you can get better rewards, better pricing, and more options in your Alliance Tournament store. Sear says, I don't look at tasks below 4,000. I don't like for my team to do that either, but some of them do. That's why I like to re-roll a lot of the lower point stuff. And I will burn those re-roll tokens on those low tasks to kind of encourage / force some of my players to look at higher point tasks. It doesn't have to be 10,000, but like Karkin says, even a 25, even a 3,000 is better than a 750. Now, Chocolate says, I re-roll the 750s every time. You are certainly likely to, but this is why players with hundreds of thousands of them should be assisting you. A free-to-play is not going to have hundreds of thousands of re-rolls every day. You can't. It's not sustainable. You're not able to do it. But your G6 players and your spending players, they can. And it is not, in my opinion, inappropriate for you to hop up into AC and ask if somebody's willing to refresh some tokens for you so you can find a couple of tasks. I will do that. I'll go into AC and I'll say, hey, is anybody looking for tasks? Because I'm getting ready to dump some reroll tokens. And if nobody responds, then I'll wait. But if somebody does respond, then I'll do it. And I don't remember what it was, Karkin. The other day, yesterday, somebody said, I was looking for this one. It was a 5,000 point task. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was it FKR Hostels, maybe? Or it might have been FKR.
It probably is.
I think it was
3.
But it was, yeah, it was something. And you re-rolled it for them and they found it and they took it.
Yeah.
It was, thank you.
Yeah. He said, I'm looking for this one specifically because I am set up to be able to do it. Can you help me find it? And I spent some rerolls and he got it. He got it twice. You know? So I think that is maybe the wrong word, Jules, but I feel like that's the responsibility that some of the higher level players with tens or hundreds of thousands of rerolls, that's our responsibility to our team if we want our team to perform well. But my team values that. My team pushes for that. We want the rewards for it. So, and by looking at our score, I would say that most of the team probably might share that opinion. We're pushing. We're always pushing.
I'm going to take it one step. Further because there's actually 3 tasks I didn't mention, but are pretty obvious. The G6 materials. Now, if you have any G6 players and they had actually thought about Alliance tournaments starting as you were earning your New Year's Eve event store currency, there is synergy. And this actually happened in the last Alliance tournament too.
Did.
There was synergy in which you could take a shot.
Well, everyone was worried that the tournament was going to come up after the event store and you wouldn't be able to turn in your choice reward tokens. Thank you, New Year's Eve event.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But this is why I made that event schedule to begin with, was to show when the event stores closed or the wave pass ended. Literally for that one trick that you talked about, Jules, compared to when Alliance tournament started. Yeah, like it was like, okay, G6 people, save it, and people still don't.
So, what I'm bringing that up for when you're talking about your reroll strategy is that I have told all of our G6 players, you shouldn't be doing any of these other tasks that other people can do. Like the 3 top green tasks, don't do them. I don't care if you can do them because I know that you can acquire these G6 materials through the New Year's Eve event store bundle. I know that you can do 15 of those, no problem, just with the event store currency that you've earned. So I think that a lot of our G6 players that are playing now are still re-rolling, waiting for those greens to pop up, grabbing the G6 material ones, the 10K G6 material ones, and allowing some of our other players to do those easier tasks. And that saves us re-rolls in the end.
I also want to mention that I don't want to completely shame doing 750 point tasks because there are people who have a really hard time adding Alliance tournaments onto the stuff they need to do that day. And my Alliance last month actually placed 3rd instead of 2nd by like 4 750 point tasks. So yes, they could have done higher tasks, but the no tasks versus 750 point tasks, there's also a significant difference after a certain number of people.
I don't disagree.
Just balance.
Yeah. I don't disagree, and I don't mean to shame. I'm just saying that the strategy that we have adopted allows for more aggressive point totals to come in simply because we are kind of pushing for those higher points, knowing what it does for the Alliance. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that those extra points. Let me be very choosy with my words. I'm not trying to shame anything like that. I'm just saying our strategy as a team involves pushing up those minimum point tasks because I would rather some of those players look at 2,000 and 3,000 point tasks than 750 point tasks because that ultimately does help the team. And that player still wants to participate because there's rewards and they still need their points, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a balance of they have to go navigate to that screen and it doesn't always work right. And adding that part onto the time that it takes them to do the game in the day, especially at the holidays, is really hard. So it for me, it's just about the balance of, get as many points as you can, but don't go crazy trying to do that.
And it's good, especially at the very last 2 hours of Alliance tournaments. There is a refresh where your entire task board is going to go away anyways. We kind of we don't re-roll unless somebody's specifically asking for that too. Having those lower point totals at that time is really useful for a player who's just hopped on, only has 30 minutes, wants to get tasks done quickly, and can grab one of those. It's just go kill 2 solar armadas really fast. Those are going to be valuable for those players just looking to cap off.
Yeah.
All right. So last thing that I want to talk about tonight. Sorry, and I'm it's getting late. But there is one other, it's getting late. One other thing that I wanted to talk about, because we won't be doing a show again before a lot of this stuff is going to be near its end, is the store. Now, we've spent a lot of time on this in the past. We have talked, Jules, at great length about the options that are in the store. Has that changed for you? We do still have, as a matter of fact, I referenced this myself. And again, this is in the same spreadsheet that is in the graphics room right now for the podcast audience. But all the primes are still there. All the prime particles are still here. As a matter of fact, this is one thing I can check off my list is, Jules, I finally, yesterday, unlocked my Borg Transwarp refit.
Yeah, congrats.
Which means now I can, as long as I can use my cube for my task, I have the instant jump ability. Now, I would love if they add summoning to the cube, but I don't know that they'll do that. But that becomes my new discovery for G6 now, is the Borg cube. I finally got that unlocked with this store. I got a couple of primes finished off. As a matter of fact, because of my strategy and my choice with the Alliance tournament rewards and so forth, if I take a look here inside the store, you guys will notice there's a couple of things that I have already pulled. The Transwarp Drive refit shards, I got that. I finished maxing that, and that unlocked my Borg cube. Kirshara came back. Well, that is a no-brainer. Expensive, all right, but a no-brainer. I got all 5 pulls of that, which provided me 75 shards for Kirshara.
And by the way, if you have a little bit of artifact efficiency, so Fleet Commander Lorca or the Great Aura, that's actually an unlock. You can unlock the Kirshara
with one
if you're
run.
In Master League.
With one run.
Yep.
You guys were talking about Tarka's isolytic weapon earlier. That one is here. Not able to be unlocked with one run of Alliance tournaments, but
no, it takes 7 runs.
That is something I recommend. If you don't have it, that is one that I recommend you getting, you starting to chase. As a matter of fact, I've got one that I have been pulling that is going to take me, I think, 5 runs, is Control Seeker Probes. That is the final forbidden tech that provides fleet or provides tier-up catalyst that I don't have. And I think that one requires, 5 runs, Jules? I think 5 or 6 runs. So I maxed that one out. All right, I pulled that. I'm trying to remember. There was something else that I bought, and it was a partial amount. If you guys can see it on my screen, I don't remember which one it was. Oh, here it is. Chapel's Hypo Spray. That was another one that I don't have maxed out, or don't have maxed out as far as an artifact goes. So I've been pulling extra pulls of that. As a matter of fact, it looks like I got another one able to unlock, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that today. Those shards are valuable to me. So when we're talking about what is in the store, and by the way, I am not a fan of spending event rewards in the same event, but if you needed it, there are Galactic Recruit tokens in this store. So that is another one of those circles, Jules, that you were talking about earlier, where, you were talking about it with the artifacts, I think, where you could recycle your artifact shards for, the temporal artifacts. You could recycle credits for Galactic Recruit tokens if you found yourself close enough to make another pull. So there's things like that. Of course, you got your pick officers. Those are very, very valuable. Carol Freeman in here. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay. Another thing that I will probably begin to prioritize, and I actually am curious about this from the community's perspective. Don't know if this is the right thing to do. For me, I've had a very successful couple of runs. I am now done with Mud's helmet and Spock's pendant, so that takes care of those.
Nice.
Thank you. I am still working on Chapel's hypo spray and Crusher's hypo spray, which I do still want to finish maxing. I'm now done with the Borg cube. I will always be investing into Cure Shard till I'm done with that, or at least a few more levels in all likelihood. How do you guys feel about the Xindi directives in here? I kind of feel like those might have a little bit of renewed value to me, Jules. I'm not sure if that is intelligent or not.
It's very expensive.
It is. But if
eventually you'll have little else to spend on.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to spend on it here.
I mean, officers are going to be like your internal.
Yeah. Officers are the big one. And let's not pretend that I could use extra levels of these officers. I just didn't know if you guys felt like Xindi Armadas would actually be worth more than the officers. Because I haven't started pulling officer shards, but I know.
If I'm close to a rare.
It sounds silly, but
I will do the rare.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Like if I'm one pull away from a rare, that's way more than I would get in a week.
Yeah. Right? So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. I know that that's probably not the wisest use. Shawnee's agreeing with me. He says, do the rare Xindi directives. It's kind of what I'm thinking. I can't earn them very well. They're incredibly slow. I mean, okay. We've done this math. Do you guys know how many uncommon chests you have to pull to start one rare Xindi? But I can get 2 rare Xindi starts with 1 run of tournaments. That is 2 more in a month than I'm getting now. I'm pretty sure I've only run 1 or 2 rare Xindis since they came out. Because what you earn in the Xindi uncommon chest is so small. Look here. Here's the Xindi uncommon chest. You get 200. It costs 5,000 to run one. So how many uncommons do you have to run? I can't even do that math. 25? I got to run 25? 25. I got to pull before I can run 1 rare. Or I can get 2 rares out of the Alliance Tournament store. Now, what comes in it? Some people are calling me dumb. What comes in it? Well, a lot of artifacts. I don't need the vinculum fragments anymore.
So the temporal artifacts are the epic artifacts. You'll get some shards, and then you get a chance at a large bundle of temporal disruptors. So, and then you get a lot of G5 blueprints, G5 ship blueprints.
I know.
There's a good amount of those there. So
you got Trip
and
Tucker.
5-star materials, which if you were G6, like you're really only looking at the temporal artifacts in there. You're not looking at the enterprise officers because we got that now with the Mirror Universe refinery. So you're really only looking at what is the value of the selection of temporal artifacts and potential temporal disruptors you'll get from your 1 start.
So you guys think it's a bad idea then? Is that what you're saying?
I think as a G6 player, it's a bad idea. I think as a G5 player or a person who is interested in G5 materials in his early G6, maybe it's still a good idea. If there was an event that was correctly scoring rare Xindi and it was correctly rewarding you well, then maybe there's an additional incentive. I don't know. I would finish all of your primes first.
Oh, those are done. I'm done with the primes. I actually am done with all the primes. That's why I haven't pulled. That's why I haven't pulled some of these others. The prime particle key, by the way, that's the only one I'm not done with because the prime particle key does all 3 of the wreckings, and I don't have all 3 of the wreckings done. So that's the only one I'm still pulling. I've only got 1 of the wrecking ones done. So anyway, it was just something I was kind of thinking about. I wasn't entirely sure. I was kind of curious what you guys were feeling like in the chat, but that's just kind of more proof positive that there's stuff here for everybody. There's a lot of stuff that I have already that a lot of players don't. As Jules just mentioned, the primes are very, very important. Okay.
And one note about the primes, the Delta Spike that adds 3 rolls to the anomaly. Now, this prime was made available in Alliance tournaments prior to Independent Archives.
Yes.
Just so everyone's clear, any bonuses that occur to refineries are reflected in the archive redemption. So +3s to the anomaly, you'll still see that boost in your immediate redemption.
Yeah. Juan asked,
and it will take a restart.
Yeah. Juan asked, is Alliance Tournaments the only free-to-play way to get Kirshara shards? And indeed it is. So, yeah, I feel like that is probably going to be a pretty top priority for those players, free-to-play players in Master League, is Kirshara. Another one that I love for free-to-play players is actually these 3 right here, the dual photon warheads, control seeker probes, and Section 31 torpedo pods. Those are 3 forbidden technologies that will absolutely make a huge difference in your acquisition of tier up catalyst, which fundamentally change your use and ability to use forbidden technology. Those are very, very, very valuable. All right. Vic says, how long to grind out the Kirshara? Well, Vic, depending on your research efficiencies, maybe as little as 1 run. Definitely within 2. Okay. You could, depending on your efficiencies, unlock Kirshara this time. Vic says that's crazy. I call it amazing. All right. And that in and of itself should be motivation to try to get into Master League. You know? But there are other good things in here. We've talked about Tarka's isolytic weapon. You know, circling back to that. That is very important. Officer sourcing. You got Shax, Billups, Ransom, Ta'ana. Those I find to be very valuable officers. Tom Paris, very cheap in this store. He should be maxed. Tom Paris is a valuable officer for any level in this game. Below deck, Tom Paris is a mitigation great. You should prioritize maxing him. All right. Jules, if you were blanket statement, just kind of picking out some of the other most valuable things aside from what we've talked about, what do you see? Besides pick Riker, of course.
Gonna be honest, I'm actually looking forward to what the Emerald chain is going to unlock. I mean, you talked about the trans warp that was unlocked through your Emerald chain.
Yeah.
But also, some other of the refits like the Fuchsia Glass and the Armored Voyager. Now, the Armored Voyager doesn't really have any value except for just being cosmetic.
Yeah.
And the glass does?
No.
I wouldn't say that's the useful one.
No.
Glass,
yeah.
Glass and Armored Voyager I actually have unlocked now, and I did look into those. So let's take a look into the refit section and see what those do. Because I was curious about those as well, Jules. I've got those unlocked this time, and I did look at both. So looking first at the Fuchsia Glass. Let me see if I can find it. I can never find these things. That's all automated. So skins. Here we go. Fuchsia Glass. Increases Fuchsia's base mining rate of raw latinum, not concentrated latinum, by the way, but raw latinum by 200,000% and unlocks a new latinum refinery option, rewarding Fuchsia parts and latinum. If you are still currently working on your Fuchsia to tier it up, then I can see that being valuable to you. All right. It also is very cool looking. But I don't mind Latinum anymore.
No, so it's not valuable to you, but it's valuable to,
Exactly.
some low G4, G3 players.
Exactly.
Who are still playing that Mining Monday game using Fuchsias.
You got it. Okay. Very, very good to have if you are a younger level player. And when it unlocks the new Latinum refinery option, I don't remember how much extra it is. It's 50% more, isn't it, Jules? Or is it doubled?
I don't have a chart on it.
I can't remember that. I think it's either 40 or 50% more. of the
Wait,
of the
it's
Latin
so
poll.
insignificant. Jules doesn't even have a chart. I'm not gonna bother.
Fair enough. Armored
this
Voyager.
This predates my charting time.
Yeah. Now, Armored Voyager looks super freaking cool. This is a beautiful skin. I love this skin. It narratively ties into Voyager's show, even if it was only like 1 or 2 episodes. But I love this skin. But it serves no purpose to me. Okay? But it unlocks an additional refinery claim in the Voyager refinery, which basically just allows you to pull more shards faster. And again, mastery kind of nullifies the utility of this ship. But it looks beautiful. And I love it.
I did make a chart for that refit.
Yeah.
And that is in the chat room.
So
what is that extra pull that you're getting? Is it your mining stuff? Because
in Voyager, no. In Voyager, the only thing you get is this pull. An extra warp cell and a chance at one of 3 different levels of additional biotoxins and extra deuterium, all of which is worthless if you're done with Voyager's mastery, and a lot of people won't be. So if you're still in the Voyager loop, this could be valuable to you. It's not something I think that is the most valuable in the store, but it's okay. It's okay. It looks great, though. Okay?
So
looks
looking
wonderful.
forward to the other ones.
That's right.
I actually don't have the Columbia NX02.
Okay, let's go back and look at Columbia NX02, which is in this same screen. Let me see. Here we go. Columbia NX02 doubles the output of the officer exchange containing rare and epic Voyager officers in the X-Borg faction store. Doubles the output.
How many people have
rare.
Janeway unlocked or maxed?
Oh, not me.
Not me.
Let's go into the X-Borg store and take a look at what they're referring to.
Janeway's the last person I'm thinking there. I'm thinking all of like your BLT, your Kim, all of your underdeck necessities.
Officer exchange.
Sure.
This bundle right here, a single chest pays 4 rolls. Well, now a single chest would pay 8 rolls. Riskbreaker says pass for me. Well, you can see the only 3 officers I've got maxed are Neelix, Tom Paris, and B'Elanna Torres, and Harry Kim. 4. I don't have any of the epics maxed. The Doctor carries value to me. So does Chakotay, Janeway, and 7. About the only one I don't care about is Tuvok, which is sad. I love the character. But I still need all of these epic officers. I would love a 100% increase in officer shards from this pull. All right?
And just a reminder, even if your team currently doesn't have level 13 Emerald Chain, you may get that boost and have this show up in your store at the tail end of Alliance tournament. So when the tournament is actually over and the store is still open for an additional, I think, 24 hours, you still may be able to pull this once your Alliance actually goes up in Emerald Chain.
So, for example, now that I am done pulling the stuff that was highest priority to me for this run of tournaments, like the rest of my primes, still working on Control Seeker probes, Kirshara, the Transwarp drive, there's a high degree of likelihood at this point now that I may save the rest of my currency for whatever the Columbia NX02 ends up costing. And I'm going to imagine that it's going to be more expensive than the Voyager and the Glass. Although I could be wrong, because look here, the Borg Transwarp was the exact same. If we're lucky, Jules, it'll be the same, 8 for 740. In which case, it would take you, what, 5? No, how many runs?
3.
3 runs.
3 tournaments.
3 tournaments. So if we're lucky, 3 tournaments to get that unlocked, that would be great. Nowhere Man says, I've already got it. DJs, don't you worry. It is indeed 8 shards for 740. So there you go. You could mark that one down, Jules. We've got it verified in the chat.
Yep.
All right. So it is the same as the Glass and the Voyager. 8 shards, 740. Whoops. Which means you could do 5 pulls, which means you could get 40 shards for the low price of 3,700 tournament credits. Okay. I don't think you're going to get to the binary cutter this time. That requires Emerald Chain 18, and I don't think anybody can get that much stuff yet. Not this run. I think the most that anybody's going to be able to get this run might be level 15 or 16 jewels. Is that right? I don't think.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's also, I mean, the Eviscerator blueprints, the X1 blueprints, that's great for people who are still trying to access those ships. And to be honest, the Eviscerator is so slow to upgrade. So I'd actually be looking at those parts as my overflow mechanic over officers.
And NX01 parts, because I'm still not maxed on that thing. All right. So NX01 and Eviscerator parts, both of those are going to carry some value in the store. Nowhere Man says we're 14 because we got that super secret glitch in the first turn. Okay, cool. Hey, since you are 14, tell me what the Eviscerator blueprints and parts are. Tell me what that is, Nowhere Man.
Give us more data.
Yeah, I need data. Tell me what that is.
Give us data. Just give it to us.
Give it to us. Give me the data.
Give me data.
Yeah, that would be great to know what the blueprints, what the limits are on that stuff, because that's valuable. That's stuff that players are going to want to unlock and be able to potentially spend currency on. So I'd love to be able to share that. So we'll wait for Nowhere Man. Okay, here we go. Blueprints. The blueprints are 10 for 550 with a limit of 5. That's not expensive. Okay. That's Eviscerator blueprints, 10 blueprints, limit 5. So that's 50 blueprints, by the way, for that cost there. And then Eviscerator parts. Wow, seriously? 161,000 for 1,320, limit 5. That is not a small number of parts, Jules.
Yeah, but that's only like a part and a half
for one
for
pull.
me now.
I mean, yeah, but
like one part of the ship done per tournament.
That's it. 800,000 parts is enough for one component.
Yeah.
God, I hate this ship.
It gets stupid expensive when it gets high.
I hate this ship. I hate the Eviscerator so much, Scopely. It is, gosh, it is one of the worst ships we've ever had. All right.
I like the rifting.
See, I'm like tier 3, so I can't rift anywhere. So
I left mine at tier 6. Like it's not going anywhere forever.
Yeah, forever. Yeah.
Pretty much. Like I want the 4-star parts.
Get eviscerated. I know. So anyway, so there you go. So new data available at Emerald Chain 14, which should unlock for some alliances who have maintained some pretty good records in alliance tournaments with regards to their Masters scoring. Okay. So great data. Thank you, Nowhere Man. Appreciate that very much. All right. So all that to be said, focus on those tasks. Use the rerolls, guys. If you've got them, use them for your team and boost your team up into those higher rankings. You will earn more credits for everybody, but you also may stand the chance at Ascension, and that just pays more. I mean, plain and simple, and it unlocks additional rewards. It is definitely worth it trying to push to expert and master leagues for sure. Absolutely worth trying to push. Okay. Master Viper says, how many of them did I buy? Which one? How many of which? How many of which one are you asking? How many of them did I buy? I don't know which one you're asking about. If you will clarify, then I will answer. Eviscerators? Oh, I didn't buy I didn't buy any of them. Scopely did provide me with one, and it's still tier 3. That's how much priority I've put on that thing. So yeah. There you go. Okay. Any other ideas, Jules? Anything else that you wanted to promote when it came to Alliance tournaments that we wanted to teach on? I really hope that people use the tips and tricks to get better rewards. This is such a good paying event if you work it right. But it does require strategy, same as ahead of the curve. All right? I mean, epic shards are epic shards, but you got to work it. You got to play it the right way. Doing ship parts every time it runs up is not the cheapest, most efficient way to do it. You've got to play it smart. You guys are the 6%ers. You guys know efficiency. You know strategy. You play with it every day. Let's strategize. Make it work for you. You can do it. I got faith in you. UltimatDJz says I'm in the 1%. Well, good. Excellent. I love it. All right. Do we have anything else then, Jules? We might be done.
No.
Tarpy, you got
Get the
anything
hell
else?
out of here.
New Year's Eve event.
I don't think so.
You're loving it. You're happy with it. You want to see it run again?
Yes.
Do you think that
Absolutely.
you like? Let me ask you. Do you think you like the New Year's Eve structure for dailies, like the actual structure, the UI, to make it a daily set of events, but for a week? You guys like it?
I didn't like that there wasn't a link directly to the Boldly Go things from my actual dailies. Like there were 2 other places to find it from.
And they needed
So,
better information on each of the tasks. Like having it
yeah.
cut out. The biggest question was, why have I not been able to finish mining? It says I've more than enough.
Oh, the truncation thing. You know, Jules, I was actually told that was
digits,
a
or
box.
open it up into the information thing.
Well, it was a truncation of the numbers based on the field limit size. I thought it was just a truncation of characters. Apparently, it was actually based on the field size, which is weird because it feels like they've got a lot of space to work with there. But that's what it was. So
You mean I do not understand why they didn't go down into 21.1K or 1.6 trillion or 1.6 T for that many numbers. We do it everywhere else. Anywhere else there's an inventory item, they do it. So I think they're just gonna add a year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I think the timers could really have used some more massaging.
I don't know about
So
that.
the one to log in, the daily login one didn't have an actual timer with it.
It was the same as so after day 1, that started your 24-hour timer for all subsequent days. When your day 2 tasks showed up, that was when you could go back and claim.
No,
it was
that might be how they intended it, but that wasn't how it worked.
Actually, I don't think that's how they intended it at all. I think they intended it to be event reset. I think when I was chatting with the event designer, he was surprised that the daily reset was not the same for everybody. That was not tech that was planned.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it might have been planned from engineering. All right, but that did surprise live ops. They were like, yeah, that was unexpected.
I mean, I logged in right at reset.
He was saying, yeah, same thing.
So,
I logged in earlier in the day and no login, but then when I got in later after work, I'd have my login.
Yeah, and I would have to restart my app like at 6 o'clock in the evening when I had signed on right at reset.
Okay, I did not know that.
That's why it was weird. Yeah, and it needed a 24-hour timer.
Yeah,
on its own.
I did not know that. Okay, I thought it was based on the daily reset. Mine lined up with daily reset. Like when I got my day 5 task, then I came back and I got my day 5 claim. But that was also because I was several hours late. You know what? Didn't they have an issue with that one on day 1? Like players didn't get their day 1 points right away. Tarpy, did you get your day 1 point immediately when you logged in on day 1?
No.
That's what it was. Now, as soon as you said that, that clicks in my head because when you logged in, that set up your timer for the day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 events. But there must have been a second independent timer for the day 1, day 2 login events, and that was not working at the beginning of the event. I remember them talking about that in dev chat, but it was fixed by the time I got online. It was broken for probably 4 or 5 hours. So that is what happened. When you finally got credit for your login point, it started a new 24-hour timer for you.
Yuck.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, Corey says there was an issue on day one. It was delayed by about 5-6 hours. That's what it was then. I didn't realize that's how it was because mine lined up. It must have been fixed by the time I logged in because my daily login corresponded with my daily task being unlocked. Mike said it was longer than 4 to 5 hours. It could have been longer than 8 because I logged in that evening after work. So it couldn't have been that long. Hey, Dennis says, hey, I can't find the NX01 skin that you were referring to. That's because you may not have it unlocked yet. The NX01 skin is the one that we were talking about is the Columbia NX02 skin. And it does not unlock until Emerald Chain level 13. So where you would find out what your chain level is to come in and look up here. My alliance, for example, is only Emerald Chain 11 so far. So that means we have not unlocked that. However, given our placement in this tournament, we should be able to unlock that. So I'm going to want to save some currency. All right. I'm going to want to save, we did the math on that, roughly 3,700 tournament credits so that when the tournament ends and I get that a tournament payout and we get our Emerald Chain XP, it will unlock this in my tournament store. It'll probably come down here where the Borg refit is. All right. And it'll show
Do we know why
up.
they ended the New Year's event early? Like, was it clashing with, like, did it mess up tournaments today or something, or like why did they end it? Some people were saying they lost a lot.
I don't have a technical answer, but I know that day 5 was very borked. Day 6, if I'm not mistaken, was equally borked.
Didn't exist?
Well, day 6 task didn't exist, but there were some internal timer issues. So, like, for example, players were still working on previous tasks. That was one of the benefits of the event, right? That you could go back and work on day 2 or work on day 3 or whatever at any point during the week, right? Well, day 6, for whatever reason, there were internal timer issues and it was disabling your progress in the previous day's events. So, like, by the time we got to day 6, the day 5 milestones were so foobar, and there must have been a problem on the internal side because then it stopped scoring for days 1 through 4. So it was just broke.
Scopely experiences Y2K problems in 2025.
Yeah, it got broke. And again, all this stuff, I personally feel like this is easy fixes. It's timer based. Like I said, it even surprised ops in how it behaved. So I think those timers kind of messed with the way that they envisioned this thing going out, so that it's decided to pull it down. Because what ended up happening was day 1 and day 2 events were no longer scoring for people now that it was day 6. And, you know, it had been presented by the content creators and even by their own team that, hey, you can go back and work on day 2 or day 3. You had the 7 days to finish the tasks, which is what they wanted. You know, that was the intent of the event. So it unfortunately, the House of Cards that was the New Year's Eve event, despite how amazing and rewarding it was, technologically, they've got a few things to clean up because it started to collapse in on itself there in day 5. Skyquake says, my day 5 never opened. Yeah, that day 5 did open for some players, but it was completely broken. And then day 6 broke days 1 through 4. So it was stressful. It was stressful. They're going to have to clean that up a little bit, which is why they ultimately decided to pull it down. But they paid. You know, and again, with the comps that they've issued and the daily gifts and all that stuff, I mean, that ended up being pretty much roughly 9 out of the 10 milestones completely free. And their intent was only for 6 of them to be free. So I feel like that was a good comp. And some people who were aggressive on the first few days did actually finish all 10 milestones.
I have 2 concerns if this is going to be the dailies from now on. The first one is we get a lot of things that weren't just whatever currency they want to put into this. So, like, hazard particles for G6, cosmic particles, rhodium, whatever. So they'd need to build in a way to get those things.
Oh, listen.
And the second...
But let me address that, though. And I don't know how this has been misinterpreted by me. I'm talking about the mechanic. You're not the first person who said, well, no, this is going to be a problem if this is the new day. I'm saying that I believe that this is the UI and the engine that they're going to use for dailies. But obviously, they're going to rework the events. They're going to rework the rewards.
Oh, that's
they're going
fine.
they're going to have to. I mean, that obviously makes sense. I'm just saying, I think this is going to end up being the new engine for dailies.
So that leads me into my second question, which is kind of the inverse of something that you brought up earlier with the ahead of the curve meta giving potentially kind of crappy officers. As the trial run, this is giving us absolutely wonderful rewards as the trial run. If they give us not so great rewards for all of them going forward, we're going to be mad.
Well, we shouldn't be, though. If it's meant to be a dailies replacement, we got to look at what we're making in the dailies. All right.
Yeah, but the first time that they're running this is a special New Year's event.
It was New Year's Eve. The mechanic, even the tasks are going to look different. I don't think that they're going to change a lot of our daily tasks. I think that they are looking to freshen it up and change the UI. And I don't think that we can look at this the same way. This is like event buckets. All right. We don't expect every event that goes into a bucket now to be related, or every event that's not in a bucket to not be related, because they mess up buckets all the time. This is a format, and it's a format that would be beneficial to all players if we use this format in the form of dailies. Like, let's take dailies out of it now, because a lot of games, by the way, use this format. What if we had a week to do our dailies? Like, how many times do we miss dailies? Me. How many times do I miss dailies? You guys witness me at least once or twice a week missing my dailies. Pretty sure I missed them today. All right, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Pretty sure I missed dailies today because I was out here with you. But what if I could come in tomorrow and do 2 sets of dailies and get my rewards back? Okay? I'm not saying that the event structure is going to be the same, or the rewards are the same, or that they should be. They probably shouldn't be. But I think that this is a great engine, a great mechanic, and a great user-friendly UI that they can reuse in a lot of different ways. Don't get it twisted. This event was not dailies. This event was a holiday New Year's Eve event. That's why it paid so stinking good. But if they use the same engine, the same format for dailies, I don't think we can expect the holiday event rewards to come back out of it. I think we can expect the rewards we get out of dailies to come out of it. Right?
Probably, but if we see the same event shell run multiple times, we generally don't like it that the second time it's run, it has less stuff.
Well, those people need to sit down and be wrong.
Matters. You've been wrong many times tonight, Matters. All right. I get the point.
No, I haven't.
I get the point that you're making, Tarpy, but
as long as the difficulty of the tasks that they assign isn't the same level that they put for these special ones.
We're
Like those, some
talking
of those
dailies.
heroic ones might have been out of the.
No, yeah.
I know,
we're talking
the lower
dailies.
thing, but if they're
All right.
And yeah, no, like I get what you're also trying to say. And you can tell Strider's coughing in the background too, and I'm losing my voice. But like, I just don't want us as a community to see the same workload and get less stuff. That would be disappointing. Like the same workload as the Boldly Go event, not as our dailies.
Well, in that case, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
In that case, I agree with you, but I don't expect that to happen. I expect them to do a revamp of
It's
the
Scopely.
dailies.
It's Scopely. It
That's
will
not fair.
absolutely be it. Yeah.
Nah, I don't think that's fair. All right. I mean, they can mess it up, sure, and we'll be here to call them out if they do. But to assume that Boldly Go is the new dailies, but I don't think that's a fair
That's what
assumption.
you just said it could be.
No, and that's what I'm saying. No, I didn't.
Engine.
I
The
didn't.
events to be different,
People have
requirements
even retrieving got that. I don't know what I said that makes everybody think that. That's not what I meant to say. What I am saying is this is the mechanic. This is the UI that I believe we will see for our new daily refresh. All right. Not that Boldly, for the record, by the way, if Boldly Go did become the new set of dailies, I ain't bitching.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely not.
Okay.
That was my other point. Like, this was great.
Yeah. All right. If this does be, I don't care. I don't care if this same event repeats every week from now until infinity. Cool. But I don't expect that to happen. This was a holiday event. But I think that this was a great use of this new mechanic to test events out on a weekly basis, a weekly scale. And it's perfect tech for our new dailies revamp that we know is coming this year. It's perfect tech for it. So I think that this is the engine we'll see. But obviously the rewards can be different. The tasks can be different. The points are going to be different. Everything about it's going to be different. But this is the engine that they will use. Okay. Yeah, Corey says, I would rather they use the Boldly Go event UI than all the garbage bucket stuff. I mean, honestly, would anybody be too crazy? Would anybody be too crazy out of sorts if this was just the format for events in general? I think I would kind of like it for all the events. I'm not sure. I mean, I might be wrong, but I kind of feel like this might be something that would be good for everything. But let's start with dailies. Let's not bite off more than we can chew. We'll start with the dailies and move on. Okay?
Need to claim all button.
Okay, sure. we'll do that. Okay, fine. All right. Anyway, listen, I asked Jules an hour ago if we had anything else to talk about, and he said no. Then we got into it. But do we have anything else?
Yeah, because then you asked Tarpy.
Well,
he was obviously wrong.
Tarpy, yeah, that's right. Jules did not account for the fact that Tarpy had something to say about the New Year's Eve event, which I think is great. All right.
Which you asked about.
I did.
This is on you, dude. This is on you.
I ain't complaining. I love it. I love the conversation, and I think it's a perspective and that's worth noting, and I think it's also good for me to clarify, because you know what? By the way, you and Retrieving, you guys are not the only two people that have been like, DJs, you said this was the new dailies. Hold it right there. I don't know how that got misinterpreted. I must have said something that I don't remember saying. But let me be super clear. I would love nothing more for this version of Boldly Go to be the new dailies because of how rewarding it was. I do not expect that. I expect the UI and the technology to be what they base the new dailies on. I get it, Ultravetica. Why do people listen to DJs anyway at all? I don't know. All right, clearly I say things insane like, hey, Boldly Go is going to be your new dailies.
Oh, he said it.
Oh, God, clip it. There you go. All right, guys. Yeah, Ice Wolf says, exclamation point, unfollow. No, I'm a jerk. All right.
No, don't leave us, Ice Wolf.
I am so positive. I'm full of positive energy.
Karkin, as we get ready to wrap up, you got anything else from the month or from really the last week or anything that we need to talk about, or are you already getting stoned?
I'm stoned all day, man. I'm enjoying the tournaments, enjoyed the Boldly Go. I liked how it played out, that you could have preemptively done events that you didn't even know you were doing.
That was cool.
Come up on day 3, 4, 5, and then suddenly, day 4 and 5, I pretty much had done already. A lot of people were complaining that they had the initial day start on incursions. I don't think they were complaining by the time they got to the PvP section.
Yeah.
And saw it was already done. So
yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was good.
I got to be honest with you. You remember that catch that I told you I put in for the early G6 players for their Sigma Trite for repairs? I purposely didn't include. I purposely left the ops levels in there for people who built G6 uncommons. But I'll tell you what, I skipped my G6 uncommon, which means I had to do it with a Selkie. That was very hard. I felt disgusting as I'm slamming myself.
Didn't disable send your own message. Nice job, DJs.
Thanks, Juby.
Now everyone can hear my crazy antics.
Hey,
okay, I got nothing. Are you happy now?
Thanks, Juby. Thanks for the 200 bits.
We're always happy.
Yeah, I found that one to be personally challenging and kind of hurtful as I slammed my Selkie 11 times into hostiles that it died against and used Sigma speed-ups to repair it.
Wasn't there another option to get that done?
It wasn't. I didn't have a problem with the speed-ups task. It was the spending Sigma trite on repairs. That was the one.
I know the spending trite. You didn't necessarily have to spend it on repairs, did you?
You could tear up a ship.
You are effing kidding me.
Oh, dude.
No.
It was we all discussed. Yeah, I saw it on Discord first from our community. They were discussing how spending trit just simply on the ship in some form or fashion for upgrades.
If only we had a podcast to talk about things like this, you assholes. All right.
Wait. Is this going on iTunes?
Yes, it is. And oh my God, I'm mad now. Oh my God. Yeah, the repair speed up suck, Cruzito. Apparently we didn't have to do it. Oh God. Killing me. Why is the sound effect all jittery? See, this is because things break here on this show during the show. You know what? We have in fact experienced. We noticed this when we were streaming Fortnite the other night. We have gotten close to the point where everything that I'm running on this computer at one time is starting to use most of the memory that's available and kind of cap out on the capabilities. Like, for example, right now, I've got all the cameras running. I've got all the audio processing running. We added the multi-stream capabilities, so we're streaming to YouTube. And by the way, we're not using a restream service. So what we're doing is actually streaming twice from the same machine. So it's basically like the GPU is doing twice the work. And then I've got the audio running and the sound cards running and all this stuff. And then and now it sounds good because I think I full-bought this. Yeah, because I rebooted the audio driver while we're on the show. It's just all a silly thing. And I hope that didn't mess up the podcast recording. Nope, we're good. All right, yeah, there we go. So, yeah, just things. This is part of the technology upgrades that we're working on, okay? So I'm going to remind you again, !tip, !donate. The goal is $7,500. We got 90 days to do it, and I will reward you handsomely with embarrassing antics, okay? That's what's going to happen. And, of course, we've got cold, hard cash to be spent on STFC packs if, indeed, we hit our goals. And tonight we have earned 14 PP points. And we've gotten 24 Prime and gifted subs. Thank you guys for that. Looks like, what is that, 38? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means we got 562 subs to go, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. Let's keep it going. Partner Plus waits on no content creator, and that includes us. It is time for our 2025 renewal. And I need your guys' help to do it. 3 months in a row at 300 Partner Plus points. And I appreciate all of that. Thank you guys so very much for those of you listening and watching on YouTube. Thank you for those listening on podcast and live in Discord. You guys are incredible. Thank you very much to our live panel of guests tonight, Everywhere It Matters, Tarpitude, Jules Verne Karkin, and Putz. Thank you guys so very much for always supporting us on the show here. And really just appreciate all of you guys consuming the content, because without you guys being here for us to provide content for, then why would we provide content? So thank you guys very much. I appreciate everything. And do we have more details about the Miami meetup coming very, very soon? Tarpy, I mean, literally within probably 10 to 15 days, we've got some big announcements regarding Miami. So you guys hang in there. And we've got a lot of stuff to come. That's right, Spectre. 51 days we're going to be on that boat. All right. And so, hey, listen, some Destros wants to hit the milestones. He wants to hit them by the end of February because he wants to do the live cooking. He wants to do the live Star Trek food in Miami. So it could be a thing. We got 90 days to do it, but if we do it in 60, Dastros is going to take charge down in Miami on that one. All right. So pretty excited about all that stuff. Guys, thank you so very much. I'm going to bounce on out of here. My name is UltimatDJz. Thank you for listening to Talking Trek Live, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast. We are a registered trademark and recorded in front of a live studio audience for distribution across podcast platforms everywhere. I'm your friendly neighborhood cat person saying meow for now. Love you, minute. Catch you later this weekend. Good night, everybody.